All right. Should be live. Please check the sound, and I will do my thing here.
Wakanda forever.
All right, see you listed up. We're good there. Okay. I'm glad I saved my coffee for right when we start the podcast, because that's when I start getting the pep in my step. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you gotta sit down. Don't stand up.
No, I'm at a standing desk. I have to sit up all the time.
You have a standing desk?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't think you were that sophisticated.
Oh. And as you say that, I'm trying to flick out a dust from my keyboard.
As you say that, I have my compressed air cleaning my keyboard. You hear it?
All right, let me tweet this out real quick. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I need to clean my desk a little bit. It's a bit dusty. It's a little bit dusty. Finds a dead rat. Oh. Where you come from, boy? I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna eat you up. Here's the nervous memories. Stop. Wait a minute.
Oh my God, say something to the people, like talk or whatever.
Oh, hey people, how are you doing tonight? This morning. Video games bring us together, but they also separate us into little.
Do we sound good at least?
I'm waiting for it to like fully.
It's up.
Like show up.
It's up.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for the voices because there's always like a slight delay.
You might hear me typing. I apologize, people. I wanted to mute myself, but I can't help myself sometimes. The Last of Us.
Yeah, we sound good.
Okay, good.
We sound awful.
All right, lots more.
It's up. It's up.
Sweet.
It's up.
Let me just attach the image here, and then we should be good to go. It's probably
Shut the hell up.
Oh yeah, and also big congrats to Yoshi P. On,
yeah, your husband.
on the covers for 14 and getting everything off without a hitch in the Final Fantasy 14 FanFest stuff. Actually, despite my initial hesitation, I did try to pick up tickets to go to Las Vegas for that thing. And well, the tickets for the FanFest, which was open to general sale, at first they had a lottery. They picked out random people who play the game or have a subscription, and then they did a general sales. And when people went to this general sale, they had at least like 7,000 tickets open, sold out within 15 minutes.
Oh my god.
Probably less time. It was like a little green dude on the loading bar that was just taking me that was possible to the next stage to get these tickets, and he kept seeing little boxed updates in the bottom of it saying like, hey, we're almost done with our ticket cycle. Stay in line. And then eventually there's one I was like, all right, we just sold out. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. We'll see you at the next event, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. That's fine. It's okay.
I mean, I get the apology, but it's like, that's the point to, like, hopefully sell out, Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the things that they always sold out, the biggest problem was the fact that people were just flooding these sites and couldn't get their tickets, right? But this time they had a very smart system with it, and I think it went off pretty well. It's just like there's just a ton more people this time around. So, like, considering the people that were playing Stormblood and then Shadowbringers, which put it back on the spot, and then, or more on the spot rather, and then Endwalker, which is I mean, we know how that went. They had to stop selling the game.
Ooh.
All right. I think we should be good.
Are we good?
Where's the other? Here you go. Before we actually start, too, I want to say big congrats to Shuhei Yoshida on the BAFTA award.
Clap,
Like,
clap, 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 clap,
hell
clap.
yeah, Mr. Yoshida, longtime PlayStation vet. He's been with the company since like the early '90s, I believe.
God damn, that's 3 decades.
Yeah, that man's he's been putting in the work, and now I think he's the head like the indie development or indie relations, which he had a knack for anyway when PS4 dropped. So shout out to Shuhei Yoshida on the award. That's a big accomplishment of the BAFTA award. So shout out to
Yes,
him.
sir.
All right, we're gonna tweet this out and retweet, and we're good to go.
Retweet, retweet.
All right, I'm all set. Are you good?
Very fantastic.
All right, I'm gonna raise your volume up on me a little bit, and then we can. There you go. That's what I wanted. All right, so we're good to go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DualShock Sense podcast. I'm your host, Macho, the King of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy fanatic. I'm joined here by the ever illustrious, my Boricua brother, Walt. How you doing, buddy?
This is a Hispanic podcast today.
Yes, it
This
is.
is.
Wasn't it
It's
always?
It's always been that. It's just that Jay doesn't want to accept it.
It's even.
But yes, we're here. So, doing fantastic. Lots of games, lots of announcements, and a very what I think was the biggest surprise announcement that I found out this week. I don't know if it's been announced for a while, but I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, pretty excited.
Awesome. Well, I have no idea what you're talking about, but we're gonna find out. I guess as we keep going. But yeah, man. So 94 episodes. It's getting pretty crazy. We're almost to 100. Pretty wild stuff, and we got a couple more surprises in store for you guys as we reach number 100. So stay tuned to the podcast. Hit that like button if you like what you see here. You hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell notification for when we go live or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man, let's get it started. So as always, we start the podcast with what we've been playing. And well, I want to start with you since you haven't been playing games for the past couple of weeks because you've been busy with life stuff and all. But has that changed at all? Have you been watching more movies? Like, what's going on?
Ever slightly, it's changed. I have been playing more on my bed, on my Switch. More Mario Galaxy. So it's the oldies that have me hooked up. I haven't played a lot of the newer ones. I played Hogwarts Legacy, so that's in the back as well. I'm loving it. Exploring the world, talking with people, learning new magic. It's so much fun.
It's fun how it
Then
works all together, right? Like it's a nice like one system feeds off another. You just keep finding and doing stuff.
Absolutely, and it doesn't feel it feels organic. The growth as a wizard. It doesn't feel gamified, you know? Like
Yeah.
I like the fact that to learn a new spell you have to do like that little mini game of like tracing the the symbol in the air. Like it makes you feel like a wizard.
It's very it's very like wizard mini game like yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing Mario Galaxy. I downloaded it last night to see if you and I can play later tonight because I know you dip your toes into it. Exo Primal's beta. I downloaded also Resident Evil 4 beta demo, which I want to try out. And there was another demo that I downloaded. There was a lot of new demos that I did not know were on there, and I think I downloaded one more. I think it was Season, the letter, or I forget the.
A letter
I
to
think
the
that's
future or something like
a letter
that.
to the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I actually got to play, and that is a beautiful, beautiful game, beautiful indie game. The art style reminds me of Firewatch. It's a very slow burn. It's very much about the environment, taking pictures, putting everything together, finding out pieces about your past, and kind of planning for the future, while also kind of like enjoying the present. It's a very life-oriented game, so it's really nice.
It seems super zen. Like I want to play it just to kind of like jump in like the same with No Man's Sky. Like you just want to go in and kind of be immersed in it. Does it feel like that or is it?
It does feel like that. There is a narrative to it, but it does feel like you can just take your time and enjoy the world, and there's no real pressure to do anything.
Are there side
It tells
quests?
you. There so not so much side quests, but there are side like collectibles that you can gather and form like a memory or like a narrative. Like you can take pictures and add it to your collage, and alongside that you can find like little artifacts or little extra pictures that like tell a story. So there is a main narrative of taking main pictures to move forward, but there's also little side items that tell more about the world. So that would be like kind of the side quest so far. I don't know if there's more later on that you meet people or talk to them. So far I haven't seen anyone. It's like the world's empty. Uh but it doesn't feel empty. But there's no people so far. Um Aside from that, I haven't really dived into the big games that I have waiting for me. Like a dragon. 'Cause that's a meaty boy that I want to invest my entire time into.
Did
Um,
you finish Dead Space?
Dead Space, I am just about because the damn game is so. I that one. It's funny because when I first played Dead Space, the original, I felt like I rushed it because it was kind of like, oh, there's nothing really to like take in. Because like yeah, the environment and the ambiance is like there, but like I was like, oh, like there's not much to soak in. But with this one, it's like, oh, I walk. I don't run. I walk to places because everything just feels so good. But I'm just about because I want to do everything. I'm trying to because there's a lot of Easter eggs that you can find. So I'm like looking at guides or like sometimes I'll look at like a little because there's like even one where you have to mash a specific order of buttons in like a circle of sacrifice, and it'll give you an audio log of a person singing. It's so
Hmm.
trippy. Like there's so much to that game that I did not know that is new. That wasn't in the old games, but
And you have New
I'm
Game
just
Plus
about.
too.
Yeah. Oh, but boy, I mean that's the thing. Like once I'm done with the slow burn of the first playthrough, the second one is just hopefully about the platinum. Eventually. Uh, but aside from that, man, I nothing else because a lot of the games that I do have in the back burner are 60 plus hour games, and I want to get to those when I'm only playing those games, like Ishin or like Wulong, because Wulong I played the demo, but the game proper I've yet to play because I know I'm gonna bash my head against the wall because it's Team Ninja. Um, but yeah, man, that's pretty much this week. And in terms of movies and shows, there's one show. There's one show that I watched this week, and I really changed my life. We'll talk about it
It's
because
either
you also
Peaky
watched it.
Blinders or the very obvious.
The very obvious one. Peaky Blinders
Okay.
is still fantastic. That show is phenomenal. It only gets like it legit. It's one of the few shows that truly every season gets way significantly better than the previous one.
That's one of those shows I
Um,
want to watch. Actually, I really like the actor that's in it.
Oh, dude, Cillian Murphy. This is truly like one of the, this if you know like RDJ with Iron Man, like Cillian Murphy. You might think, some people immediately go to Scarecrow, and it's like I don't think that's his most iconic role. It's a
But
good
he's
role.
so like he stands out for me in that.
Yeah, he
Even
has
as
a
like a
very
small time role, like obviously Liam Neeson's like did such a great job in Batman Begins, but
mm,
him as Scarecrow, I was just like him. He has like an iconic. Like, it's the Batman. Like he's so good in that movie.
he's so good. And the first movie recently I watched a movie that I don't know if it was his first official like big role, but it was 28 Days Later, the zombie movie.
Oh, interesting.
He's the protagonist in that movie,
Oh wow.
and I did not. I realized like halfway through the movie because it didn't remind me because now he has like this presence and this like kind of like oomph to him. It's like a very he's like a very distinguishable like actor. Like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't have a common looking appearance. And in this movie, it's like he's so young. I didn't really think about it. Later, like halfway through the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. I know you. you're you're a gangster in another show, and
In another timeline, you're a gangster.
you're a gangster and a villain in another timeline.
You a thug.
You're the no. He's always like, except in 28 Days Later, he's always like almost always like playing the bad guy. Because in Peaky Blinders, he's the protagonist, but he's not a good guy. He's
Hmm.
not. He's a gangster, and he's trying to help his family, but at the same time, it's like his family does how he operates because it's like they fear him. So it's a really great show. I'm about halfway through the show. It's 6 seasons, I think. So I'm on season 3. Um, in terms of movies, I didn't watch any new movies this week. The most recent one that I saw, we talked about last podcast, which was Last Wish, and that's still fantastic. But at home, I haven't really seen any. I do have some lining up. One of the few that I want to watch, that I've been looking everywhere. I think I'm gonna have to rent on Amazon. Is a Black Klansman. Um, because I hear that one is like a fantastic
Is that
movie.
from
I think it's
Spike Lee?
I believe
Is
so.
that Spike Lee
I
movie?
think I think Adam Driver's in it.
Yeah, yeah, I know he's in it,
Yeah,
and
he
I want to say Jamie Foxx too, but I could be wrong.
probably. Um,
I'm not mixing with Django and Chain. I think he's in it. Hold on.
yeah, this is like the one where I think like like protagonist like infiltrates like the clan or something,
Yeah,
or like he goes to like a meeting and like they accept. I don't know because I know it's like based on true events.
yeah, it's a Spike
Um,
Lee movie. Yeah,
okay, so that is a Spike Lee. Yeah, and I hear like it's one of the better like his not historical pieces but like based on true events movies. Um,
oh,
so I
Jordan
want to.
Peele actually co-produced it. Interesting.
Oh, oh no
I
wonder.
wrong. Jamie Foxx is not in it. I thought he
Damn,
was in
watch
that
out.
movie.
Confusing huh?
Shut up. No. I thought he was in that movie though, because he goes for like off the wall movies like roles now. Is he's not like
Yeah,
the regular action star that he was like in the mid 2000s.
that's true. That's true. Uh, but yeah, no, I've been looking for that movie to stream, but I don't think it's on any streaming. The ones that I have at least any
Hmm.
streaming platform. So I might have to rent it on Amazon. Um, and another movie I've been meaning to watch, but because it's such a big movie and I really want to not be in the wrong mindset because I want to enjoy it, is Blade Runner, the original one. Um, it's like a almost 3 hour movie, I think. But the extended cut, it's like longer than that. It's like Lord of the Rings type deal where it's like you have to be ready to spend half a day watching this movie.
Lord of the Rim, is that what you said?
Lord of the Rings. Oh my god, what the hell? Where's your mind at?
I heard Lord of the Rim. I was like, that's the wrong franchise, buddy.
Yo, that's the parody.
That's a good morning to you, Press Alpha.
Morning Priscilla. Yeah, Lord of the Ring. That's on another website.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
totally on it's a way different website.
way different. Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. But yeah, man. What about you? What you been playing?
So this week has been a little bit of a focus on Octopath Traveler 2, and I'm really taking in that game as slow as I can. A lot of the ways that kind of took Horizon Forbidden West and even Hogwarts Legacy, where I finished Hogwarts Legacy, I got the Platinum Trophy in like a month, which is kind of long, really, just for me to kind of play through like an entire game like that, especially since it's not like a super long game and it doesn't take that much. Like I platinumed it in like 60 hours, which is like I can do that within like 3 weeks or something like that. This one took me a little longer, but
Hmm.
I'm doing the same thing on Octopath Traveler 2. I'm just really soaking in everything it has to offer, man. Like it's if that game feels like it's too beautiful just to rush through. You know, like you actually had to like take in every sort of music note and environment, and when you're in battle, just how like characterized and fun everything is. Like I'm really just enjoying just like unlocking everything and unlocking every character's first chapter, going to the different parts of the world and kind of just exploring and really just enjoying that. And I'm finding a lot of fun in just the actual battle itself too, man. Like the I really love the Bravely Default system the battle system, the turn-based battle system there, where you are able to stock up on turns and use multiple turns at once. And there's some benefits, there's some consequences to that. And in Octopath Traveler 2, there's not really much of a consequence to that, on the fact that the enemies have turns too, and they can take up a turn that you had. But you can stock up on actions here too, so it feels a little bit more action gamey. But what makes it really even better is that when these characters have like their primary jobs that they have, so Cassie's an apothecary, so she can like mix together different items and for healing or stat boosting. Particio is a he's a merchant, but his main thing that he can do is he could hire somebody to come out onto the battlefield, which is like really cool, like little battle diamonds. But you can attach a second job to them, and I just unlocked 2 of them so far. And the first one I did was an inventor, which was a place that I randomly found. Well, like I went to this random house that I was going across the lands with, and I met up with this inventor who was talking about how he was trying to make like the best inventions for the museum that's in his home. So he wants you, the player, to go and search for the items and then bring them back, and you can craft them. So that's to unlock his like job that you can use in battle. So now I have Cassie, who's not only a item mixer on the field, but now she's an inventor, and she can take any weapon, even if she doesn't have it equipped, and use it for like a catapult or whatever the case may be. So it's adding like more layers to the battle system, and it's making it a ton of fun. So yeah, Octopath Traveler 2 is a knockout, and it's kind of sad that not a lot of people are talking about it right now.
Yeah, I think the the first one, first of all, the name. I think that's like a big factor in that people hear the name and they don't really get any sort of feeling, because I think the first one was not devoid of feeling, but it was devoid of what this one has. The first one didn't, and I think it didn't become anything big. I think it became big in a niche that it made an impact in. But us being JRPG lovers, we can see how this one's like, oh, this is a standout. This is like one of the better ones, but it doesn't have the oomph behind it, the marketing behind it. Because I don't think this game was, or the first one, neither of them were marketed in a way where it got people excited. At least people that didn't know about it. I didn't feel it.
Well,
And
the one thing I'll kind of interrupt you on that is that it's funny because I was talking about this with a couple of people about Square Enix's marketing, and what we noticed and kind of founded was that a lot of the games that are from Square Enix that are platform exclusive end up being marketed the best compared to the stuff that they just release on all platforms. Because if you look back at Octopath Traveler 1, that thing was talked about like no tomorrow, but from every Nintendo Direct, the marketing was up there. Like people knew about it, and that game sold like 1 million. Now, Octopath Traveler 2, better reviewed, better reception from people that bought it, and just overall, like it's knocking it out of the park. The marketing is like paper thin. Not a lot of people have been talking about it on social or whatever the case may be, and it's so less than the first game in the first week.
And I think that with the first one, although it did well, it didn't. It's almost like it's almost like Avatar. Like I acknowledge that Avatar is a fantastic movie. I love it. It has a lot of like positive qualities, but it's the kind of movie where people don't talk about the things that you would want them to talk about. They talk about the fact that, oh, it sold a lot. Oh, it's like a long movie. They don't talk about the movie itself.
Yeah, like how we would talk about like the characters or the action or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think with Octopath, it's the same way, where whenever I hear people talk about Octopath, I talk about the music. They talk about the visuals. They don't talk about the story. They don't talk about the characters interacting, because there is none. There's no interaction between the characters like that. There's no cohesion like in the overarching narrative. Maybe there's like,
well, there is. There is. I mean, I have to play more to confirm. Yeah, I have to play more to like really confirm, but like there have been interactions that made it feel like it's like a step above the first game.
No, the second one. No, yeah, I'm talking about the first one.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because the first one having been, and that's what I mean. Like people, when they talk about Octopath 1, They talk about the music, they talk about the visuals. They don't talk about the characters. Maybe like they talk about a handful of characters, specifically Primrose. That's like the one that people talked about the most because she had the more interesting and nuanced story.
In darker story, yeah.
And
Mhm.
darker story. And I think that's kind of why Octopath 2 is doing way better is because they were able to balance the complexities of the stories. Because I'll be honest, like one of the some of the stories in the first one, like they were like tropey and super not bad. I don't think they were bad. None of them. I don't think any of the 8 stories were bad, but I think some of them were just uninteresting compared to a Primrose. You know, like you look at what was the big guy, Oberic.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like his was the simple revenge story, you know. Oh, my best friend, he became a villain. I need to look for him and find out the truth. That's it. Or you know,
Well, I think
Primrose.
I think to your point, like it kind of like deflated the characters a little bit.
Yeah,
But in Octopath Traveler 2, from at least what I'm experiencing, it's simple story but more complex characters here. Like you have
and I
Hikari,
think
who's from this empire. He was gonna take the throne, but then he was overthrown by his brother, who's a more
oh,
menacing force. And now Hikari's on his other journey to uh to basically earn not earn his right, but like basically take back the throne in a sense. But like the voice delivery and the writing is just so smart and it's so enticing that you just want to keep playing, which
I
I
think
think was
that's
kind of
what
lacking from the first game.
I think that when you craft a character, when you craft a character like an actual character, the character has to be more complex than the story because otherwise you get why Persona is so successful is because the character is not complex. It's the story and the characters that you interact with that are nuanced, and you are the vessel experiencing it. I
Hmm.
think with Octopath and with Octopath 2, they're the kinds of JRPGs where you need a good character. The story just has to be a means to an end, but also it doesn't have to, it shouldn't be a throwaway, which I think that I mean, games like not a JRPG per se, but it is a RPG and it is Japanese. But Yakuza is the kind of game where both the characters and the stories are incredibly complex, and I think that the combination should be complex character, complex story, complex character, simple story, but never simple character, complex story, because then it feels like you're just wandering. You know,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel like the character should always be front and center, unless it's a silent protagonist type deal, like a Persona or an SMT. You know?
Yeah, that's what kind of Kingdom Hearts suffered in later games, where it has simple
Yeah,
characters but complex story, and then that's where people were kind of getting lost.
and that's why
Um,
Kingdom Hearts 2 did so well because it's I think the perfect balance. I mean, for
yeah,
God's sake, Goofy
100%.
dies.
But you're not wrong though. I mean, like we'll laugh at that, but like you're not wrong. But that's why that game made me fall in love with video game stories because of it had that right balance. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Octopath 2 is, although not a lot of people are talking about, but the people that do talk about it are praising 100%. So,
Yeah, Flame
I,
gave it, I think it was his first 10 out of 10 on North of Gaming. So
I mean, that man is critical. So
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. In Press Alpha, you're 100% right. He talks about how basically Square Enix department only really cares about the website, its blog, and Final Fantasy 14, and then they rely on platform partners to do the marketing, which is true.
Yeah, yeah, and
100%.
glass cups, and selling $400 uh
Yeah, the
glass cups.
yeah, the crystal cups from Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, yeah, no,
Yes,
but
sir.
he's not wrong because there's another game that came out just from Square Enix on March 9th or 8th called Paranormal Sight, and it's a visual novel mystery horror mystery.
Mm.
Critical acclaim.
Oh wow.
It has a 86 or 84 on Metacritic, and all the Steam reviews are very positive, and keep saying it's one of those games that you just have to play and you're gonna love it. Kind of like how Inscription, how people say just play
Mm-hmm.
it and just go into it blind. People are saying the exact same thing here with this game, but no one has heard of it at all. It's a
Some games
brand
are
new game.
just some games are just not marketable. Like oh they are, and the people just haven't cracked the code. Like
Oh, I mean
Inscription.
this game is, I guess, yeah, but this game has like an art style that'll just like sing to you. It's kind of crazy. I have it. I downloaded it, So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
play it eventually, but yeah, it's one of those
Yep.
games. But that's a whole other topic. But I've been playing
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler 2, and
Good. Good.
actually, man, I've been chipping away at a game I started a year ago, and I'm actually making some more headway and getting a little more encouragement to finish it.
Oh,
And that's Trails in the Sky second chapter, Legend of
oh
Heroes.
my.
Yeah.
Bro said I'm gonna have a full-time job on the side.
Yes, exact. Tell me why this game feels like I've been playing it for 80 hours, but I only clocked in 30 hours according to Steam.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Uh,
That sounds bad.
it
Because it
sounds
feels like it drags.
yeah, because that's kind of like the one of the issues with the first trilogy of the Legend of Hero games. While they're really good and it's a great story, it's a really one of those things where we talked before. Where like it's the cozy JRPG. You lay down with a handheld and you just kind of just get immersed into it for an hour or two, and then you go to sleep. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where like it will take you forever to finish because it's so dense. There's a lot packed into each chapter. It ends up feeling longer than what it really is. So that's why it's been taking me
Mm.
so long to actually finish it. But with that said, I completed 2 chapters this week, and I think I have 2 more chapters left. So I'm almost done with it, and eventually
Nice.
we'll close a book on that game. It's really good. I really like the story. We finally got to a point in the story where there's a nice reunion that happened, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. But as far as like there are other games that came out from like the Trail series, I'm looking forward to those as well because I hear that the duology, the crossbell duology, which is
Yeah.
Trails from Zero or Trails to Zero, something like that, and Trails to Zero, which just came out. I hear those are much better paced games, and the writing is just as good, which is good to hear. So I'll look forward to those.
Oh, oh yeah, man.
And
The one
yeah,
piece of gaming.
yes, sir. And the last thing I've been playing, which we can kind of get into our first topic here, is Exo Primal, which is
Tell us
the
about it.
yeah, the open beta just started like Thursday night for North America, and officially kicked off Friday. But I ended up playing about maybe in 2 hours of it. I made my first character. I jumped into two or three online matches. And the first thing that you'll notice about this game, is like how polished it is. It's
Mhm.
kind of insane. This game releases in July, so it's still got 4 months of just optimizing and we know whatever the Capcom devs got to do. But it's really polished for what they gave you out the gate. Really clean performance for having so much on screen, like especially the dinosaurs that keep getting poured out from dimensions. It's pretty crazy. But the one thing that shocked me about this game, is the fact that there's a lot to play with in here. I thought it was gonna be your simple 4 or 5 class heroes. It's a 5v5 team based multiplayer, but I'm not sure if there's like a single player attached to the full game or anything since it is $60.
Oh,
I'm assuming it's just straight up multiplayer live
okay.
service. But you're given a lot to play around with in the matches. You're able to switch between different classes mid battle, so you're able to kind of like just optimize your strategies and flows with other people as much as you can. But
Hmm.
you have your basic roles, so attacker, tank, and healer. But there's at least 4 to 5 different classes that you can play as, or different versions of those roles you can play as in um, in a match or in the game. So similar to Final Fantasy 14, how you have your basic DPS, tank, and healer roles, but you have different classes in them that all
Hmm.
play differently. It's the same thing here. So you have like
Oh.
attackers that you're able to do. It's a regular third-person shooter kind of class. You have your more melee based. You have a sniper, and then for tank you have like a beefy boy that has a shield, but he's also able to pummel people in front of him. Then you also have a guy that has a huge machine gun that he's able to lug around with. And then the healers, you have everything from buff support and debuff support to straight up healers and um, debuff like weapons that they use to help out the team. So it's very cooperative based, very much a team based game. So you will get mad if your team sucks, but you also be overjoyed and having a ton of fun. Your team's actually really good. Uh, it's kind of confusing on how they lay out like what games you're playing because they have one specific mode. It's called a war game, and the objective here is to defeat the waves of dinosaurs faster than your opponent, and then you get sent to another dimensions. That's what they call it, or the time, whatever it's called, and you're actually doing more of a PvP match. So like it mixes game modes inside of it, so that you're playing when you're sitting down for a match, you're playing for like at least 20 minutes to a half hour that involve either first it's just defeating the waves of dinosaurs and to see who does it, first or whatever. And then you get transported to this PvP match where you're either facing opponents in a King of the Hill style kind of gameplay or a move the payload sort of gameplay. And that's all I experienced so far.
Is the taking down of the elephants? Oh
The elephants, wrong game. What
is the is the taking down of the dinosaurs satisfying? Does it feel good? Like,
if you're asking is if it's as epic as Monster Hunter, it's not.
No, I don't expect you to have like be able to chop down, tails and all these things, but like, does it feel satisfying, or is it like a Muso thing where it's like they just fall down, or is there a weight to the way that you fight these things?
No, it's more Muso. More Muso. I say like the equivalent is like it's like playing Call of Duty Zombies, but except all the zombies are from World War Z.
Okay.
So you're just getting hordes of dinosaurs just thrown at you, and everyone's kind of not picking and choosing, but everyone's kind of colliding together to defeat this one horde, and you just kept getting waves of it. So if it's satisfying, I mean, sort of, kind of. It's not like I'm not like jumping on my seat like T-Rex comes in. I'm just like, okay, another enemy, kind of thing. Or a Triceratops. It comes in, it has a beefy amount of health, and we all just kind of work together to take it down. Again, it's not as satisfying as something like Monster Hunter, but like it's fun. That's what I'm saying. That's what I said before, and we started the stream that thing would be more. This game would be more fun to play with friends. Like it's designed for you to meet up with friends and just take these things down, just shoot the shit and have a good time.
Okay, that's good. It sounds like, I mean, yeah, I don't need like like the most complex combat against these dinosaurs. All I need is that I feels like I'm killing something. It feels like I have to like put in some effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and you do, because either way, you're gonna get wrecked by the horde of dinosaurs incoming. There's a couple times where I just wasn't careful, and the next thing I know, like I'm dead from like a raptor or something. So, but yeah, the dinosaurs look gorgeous. It looks really cool. There's some gameplay moments too where you can actually control a dinosaur, and it would wreck shop. Yeah, I haven't experienced that yet, but it was in the tutorial section, so I assume it's gonna be in other game modes too. So
that's dope.
Yeah, so I think this game is it's surprising a lot of people, which is nice to see. A new IP from Capcom ends up actually surprising people, and it's live service, and it could probably get like a small following and stuff like that. So I hope it's successful for them. But I think the long road ahead of it is the season pass that they have lined up, and the live servicey part that we keep talking about that's like floundering. We'll see if they're able to keep up with it, but so far it's pretty solid. They got something really kooky and crazy, and I think it could be really good if they just keep it up.
One day developers will understand how live service just ain't it. One day.
I mean, we'll see. It's either that or they go for the mobile market, or both.
That's true.
So,
which, real quick, speaking of mobile, the thing that's got me really excited that was announced the other day, is a spin-off game for Persona 5.
Oh hell no, we're not talking about that bull. Nah. No.
My guy.
No.
Persona 5 The Phantom X.
Can I ask you one question before you go in here?
Yes.
How does that milk taste?
Milk? It is.
Yeah.
It is fatty.
Is that cow giving you all the sort of slurping and gurping that you want?
Yeah. That cow is with its legs up. It's on the floor, but I still keep drinking that milk.
Oh,
Give
that
me
sounds chunky. Oh boy.
yeah, I
Okay.
need to
All right.
squeeze the udder to get the milk out.
All right.
Um,
Cool. Does a cow also say, "Do you, you never see it coming"?
the cow goes. It's just battle music all the time. Life will
Can you
change.
imagine you? I need a picture of you with the cowboy outfit on, just going to a milk and then just milking a cow to just a battle theme persona. Oh
Bro, I'm
man.
not even gonna like go into that because there's not a lot that's know about it. All like I am just gonna read what it's described to be. So, like Persona 5, Phantom of the Night mixes traditional turn-based combat with maintaining a social life. As a new high school student, you'll have to juggle your academic responsibilities during the day and engage in stylish combat at night alongside your classmates in a new Phantom Thieves game. So literally Persona 5, but with a different cast of characters, and it's mobile.
So it's Persona 5 3.
It's Persona 5 2.
No, it's 5 3 because of strikers.
But well, yeah, because I'm treating this as like a like after Royal, but yeah, it could be Persona 5 3, Persona 3.0, 3.5, whatever.
Oh, so you're saying that this new one's actually canon as opposed to strikers that's probably
I
not
don't know if it's
canon.
canon. I could have sworn that in the trailer I saw Joker working at the ramen shop. I could have sworn I saw him, so it could be it's a spin-off, but I don't know if it's canon or not. So
Okay.
Atlas is not behind the development. It's Perfect World Games, but it's under supervision from Sega and Atlas. It's developed by Chinese studio Perfect World Games, and it's gonna start playtesting the public test on March 29th in China. So
Interesting.
we're gonna just a wait and see situation. But all I'm gonna say, man, the trailer, the game looks legit. It looks beautiful. It looks like Persona 5. So like, no complaints there. No complaints. The milk is delicious. But that's it. That's the Persona, my Persona moment.
That's so wild, man. We've been waiting for Persona 6 since God, maybe like 2017, 2018 after Persona 5, but still like Jesus, dude. It's been too long. But honestly, I'm looking at the trailer right now and it actually does look pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
It looks great, and the protagonists are the new designs. They look cool. They all look cool.
Interesting. You think it carries protagonists over into Persona 6?
If it does like well, it would be cool if even if it's not canon, they include it like a little skin pack in Persona 6 where you play as like where you can have like the costumes from this spin-off. If they do anything, it would be like a little homage, like just like how in Persona 5 Royal you can fight the protagonist from P3 and P4.
Yeah.
In Mementos or in the Velvet Room. So that'd be cool. Yeah, they could do that. They don't really lose anything with doing that. So.
All
I'm
right.
excited, man.
Yeah, well, it looks good. It looks good. Again,
Yes,
the
sir.
milk is real with Persona 5, but I kind of hope now with Persona 6 we get something really different.
Yeah, yeah. I trust that. I mean, every single Persona has been very very different from each other. There's always a thematic. You know, it's very thematic in music, and everything just changes in terms of its identity. So we'll see what color they go for now. The yellow, the blue, and red, and now
According to you guys, it's white and green because
It's white and
it
green.
means sickness and blah, blah, blah. Shut up.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Anyway, moving on to on top of the betas for beta for Exo Prime, there's another beta that's happened this weekend for Diablo 4. Walt, have you pre-ordered the game? Are you planning on checking it out, or are you gonna wait for the free beta period, which is next weekend?
I'm waiting for the free beta. I'm not pre-ordering that game. I'm not pre-ordering a Blizzard game ever.
That's fair.
Because they're very different. When they announce it to when they come out, you know, the narrative changes real quick. So, but so far, I'm actually excited for Diablo 4. I'm just not gonna get a day one. I'm waiting for the public test and then eventually the reviews to see how it holds up.
Yeah, I think you're gonna be not disappointed. I think you're gonna be like content with what it gets because I can see this thing reviewing pretty well
Mm.
with everyone saying the same thing of that it's you can't judge it until like the first season or like the end game and stuff like that. 'Cause that's what these games are kind of built on, right? It's like having a enticing single player, but the end game's really where it's at.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's it's a game. I call it like it's a game for like it's a background noise game. Because
Oh yeah, that's a good description.
although
Yeah.
although the story it has a very in-depth story. There's a lot of lore behind it. There's a lot of characters. The voice acting is always superb. The visuals are always incredible. The cinematics are out of this world. As we know, Blizzard makes probably some of the best cinematics in the video game industry. Uh, what I will say is that it's the kind of game that it gets to the point where it stops being about the game and it starts being about the loot, kind of like a life service, like a Destiny. So you'll get to the point where you're just rinse and repeating dungeons and trying to, get better gear and get better artifacts or whatever the new thing is going to be. Or if it's all I see is that people are comparing it to be feeling more like a Diablo 2 than a Diablo 3 because I think Diablo 3 didn't really feel like Diablo for a lot of people. But Diablo 3 was my first Diablo. So I don't know what to expect. All I know is that the game I like Muso games. So I do like background games. This is the kind of game that I'm going to be playing and I'm going to have a podcast in the background and just chill for the night or something, or watch a movie and play the game.
All right.
And it's very comfortable on controls and on PC. So I assume that this one's the same.
Cool. Well, I mean, if you decide to get it, I'll probably join you on that because
Sir.
I'm interested too. And I like again, I want to play this with people. So if you end up getting it, let me know, and then we'll jump on whether PC or PS5, whatever. I don't care. But
Oh yeah, man.
yeah, so I brought up Diablo 4 because obviously the beta's happening, but also because there's some news of it the past week. Well, I don't know if you've seen this, but from VGC.com, the series lead for Diablo actually said that this game is not coming to Game Pass despite some people asking, which I was wondering why people were asking about this since the deal with Activision Blizzard is not even approved yet, so that kind of thing is probably not even on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it should have
Mm-hmm.
been in Game Pass with Blizzard really needing some good faith from the gamers nowadays, or do you think that it's gonna ride its wave now? It's up in beta and be okay.
I feel like Blizzard's in this position where they the controversies and the bad faith that they've established, it's almost like it doesn't really matter because you saw just how incredible the profit was for Immortal and how the player count and like people consistently keep playing Overwatch. Maybe the player base is not as big, but it's still there is a scene for it. So it's not like people are not gonna buy this game. While I do think that the good faith would have been established a bit more through Game Pass, uh, they ain't doing that. they ain't, that ain't the way the money speaks for them. I think
Yeah,
they should have done it, but they were not. They really are not, and I really don't think that Diablo 4. I think Diablo Immortal established that they still know how to make a game. They just don't trust the fact that it was mobile because they know that microtransactions are rampant. So Diablo 4 is just going to be a return to form. The remake for 2 did well, Resurrected or whatever it was called. Diablo 3 is still like consistently being played and on Switch is like a fantastic Switch game. So it did well on the Switch. I don't think Diablo 4 is going to get severely impacted by this decision. If anything, yeah, the player perspective of Blizzard, but I mean, bro, the last 5 years, they haven't been in any like positive remarks. Like they haven't been in any positive light. So like at this point, it's like they're just gonna ride the wave. They know their player base, and if there's any type of monetization, the whales are there. There's whales. There's gonna be whales. So it's not like they're gonna lose money over it.
yeah. It's not even whales either. It's the fact that the most expensive edition of Diablo 4 has you playing the game early, And one of the most enticing things about playing Diablo games, from what I've seen from people talking about it, and I've played the game or played the series overall, is that you want to be there day one. You want that experience, and you want to
You
be
want to get
involved.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get ahead. It's like Call of Duty. You want to make sure that once the boys help out that weekend, you played 3 days before, you're already prestige 2. Oh yeah, like you're look at your skin, look at those gun, my the black matter skin or whatever, the gold skin. And I think with Diablo, I remember when I played Diablo 3, the friend that introduced me to Diablo, I remember he had this magic artifact that would turn you into a chicken, and you would basically be like unstoppable, and you would get like millions of XP, and you would level up in mere minutes to like almost a max capacity. So it's the kind of thing where like people will break the game given time because they just want to get ahead as much as possible. So yeah, I mean it's no surprise that's what kind of entices people.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I was typing out. We got Prince Alpha in the chat. He's saying how the Diablo 4 looked a little colorless and it's kind of like daft. Um, and
Mm.
I was saying, I was telling him, it's like I haven't seen it on my TV yet, so you can't really like, I can't really judge on it, like, because from gameplay that I've seen, it does look like grayish, but like, I think it's more for mood and tone than it is like for lack of creativity. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's a very bleak
Yeah, that's the
game.
best way to
It
describe it. Yeah.
Because I think the game, the color, ironically, is in the dungeons, which is where the big bosses are, the spells are cast. I think the point of this game is like it's a very it's ravaged by demons, and it's very kind of like like filled in despair. So it kind of fits with the tone, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's. I saw some people kind of saying like it was a bad thing that they refer to the first Diablo for reference on like the kind of style it should go for, and I'm like, that sounds like a good thing to me, but
Yeah, I mean sometimes maybe the original is not the best. I don't know much about Diablo 1. All I know is Diablo 2 Resurrected, and that people really, really loved. I think Diablo 2 might be like a favorite, a fan favorite. I think Diablo 3 is where people were kind of lost.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
okay.
We'll see.
Um, let's knock out a couple of smaller topics here. So for people who are not aware, the one of the April's PlayStation Plus games is going to be a new IP called Meet Your Maker. And apparently we saw trailers for this before. I don't remember exactly when, but this is a game being released on every console. But the whole point of it is to create maps and then put your friends in them, and they try to figure out the puzzle or the go against any sort of monster they're laying in there. So very much like a Mario Maker sort of game, but more gritty and more violent. And a lot more trickery involved. It's kind of like your what's the guy from Saw? Jigsaw. It's like your Jigsaw, and you're just making all these different puzzles for your friends to go into and terrorize them. So that's gonna be PlayStation Plus game. Did you see the trailer for this?
Or which one is it?
Meet Your Maker.
No, I haven't.
It looks pretty good. It's not a game I'm interested in, really all that much, but it looks cool. Like it'll be fun to see. It's one of those things where you'll see video compilations for like a Minecraft sort of thing where like you just go on and see like the cool things people created and whether people can tackle them. So it's kind of like one of those community based games that do pretty well on PlayStation. But for March, PlayStation Plus catalog for classic and premium, they got some bangers in this one, man. This is an awesome month for the service. You got Uncharted Legacy Thieves Collection, the Tachia indie game. You also got Ghostwire Tokyo being thrown in there, and Moros Phoenix Rising, which I know you like that game, Walt. Uh,
Yep.
Street Fighter V Champion Edition, which is like basically the entire game of Street Fighter V from when it
What
released.
should have been by release, but
Yeah, truly. Untitled Goose Game's gonna be another one, and the ones I wanted to highlight because I'm a Square Enix nut job is Final Fantasy Type Zero HD, which this game, Walt, was this was part of the Fabian Nova Crystallis series back then with 13 and Versus 13. It was
Oh
called
man.
Final Fantasy Agito 13. It changed its name to Type Zero on PSP. Got ported to PS4. So it's a very good game. I like it a lot. I think the
Okay, so
biggest
it's good.
yeah, no, it's awesome. It's actually one of those. It's one of the earlier, darker themed Final Fantasy games, where it's more on war torn elements and the characters involved. And one of the shticks about it is that the characters are named after playing cards. So you have
Mm.
Ace, Deuce, Trey, and then you have your other outlier characters like Rem and Machina that have a different kind of element to the story. So really good game that's going to be on the service. And then Rage 2 is on there, as well as Neo: The World Ends With You, which is another Square Enix game that wasn't marketed well and sold a lot less than it should have.
Do you think it warranted more?
More of like a player base.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a hardcore fan base for it. From what I've seen from all the people that have played it, they say it's better than the first game. Against the like Octopath Traveler 2, it's better than the first game, and it's worth playing. It's worth jumping into if you didn't play the first one either. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try it out. I've had that card in my, or I had that game in my wish list for a long time actually. Just 'cause I did want to play it, but it's also a pretty long game, so be prepared for that.
Mm.
And then the classics coming in are Ape Academy 2, Ridge Racer Type 4, and Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Again, coming with trophies, so you're getting some value there.
Oh yeah.
I'm still
Modern Valley.
disappointed in the PlayStation Plus Premium. I mean, the best thing they added was Legend Dragoon, but it is what it is. So
A lot of
that's
classics in there.
yeah, sure. Um, you don't have that much to say about that, right?
Not, a lot of these games, I mean, some half of them I've played, half of them I haven't. I don't have the service, so but I'm glad that it's kicking off a bit more, and there's more reasons to not regret purchasing it if people have it. So, uh, props to them.
It's the
I'm
best deal in
glad
gaming.
that it's the best deal in gaming. It's I can't say that with a straight face. Ain't no way, boy. It what's the? Oh my god. Okay, this is not me. This I have a friend that when he talks about game, never mind. I won't talk about. Continue.
All right.
It's
Okay.
gonna be controversial.
We're just it's controversial. Yeah, yeah. Don't get us canceled, man. I mean, well, the next up is another small one. So Horizon Forbidden West DLC's marketing starting to begin. They released a blog post on the PlayStation website here, and it's basically talking about how the DLC for Horizon Forbidden West being PS5 exclusive had let Guerrilla kind of really be off the reins and really, as what as they say, quote unquote, charge forward in their development for the actual game itself. And I think this is a little bit more than just a marketing ploy for Horizon Forbidden West's DLC. I think this is also another mindset that Sony wants to charge forward with when it comes to these bigger PS5 exclusives and really the making them PS5 exclusives. And this is kind of like their super long way of being like, yeah, this is what this console can accomplish when it's not on PS4. So that's coming out in next month, so it's kind of timely for them to start talking about it. Do you have any hype for this for the DLC? Do you plan on playing it when it comes out on April? When does it come out? It comes out mid-April. I think the 14th and 18th, something like that.
I'm looking. Okay, when I don't think I'm hyped, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to exploring more of the world of Horizon. I mean, the Forbidden West did a way better job at letting me know that, oh damn, like Gorilla can craft the world, and it's beautiful and lush. So I can't wait to see the literally burning shores of where is it? I know we go to Hollywood.
We're going to LA,
Um,
yeah. I think it's LA.
we're going to LA, so can't wait to see the future of that place.
Yeah, no, it looks really good.
they
From the
took
screenshots they're sharing in the trailer, it looks dope.
they took the burning fires a bit too seriously.
A bit too serious. Yeah, man. And then the last like sort of small topic we have is Steam Deck anniversary. So, this was fun to kind of bring out. I wanted to throw this in there because Steam Deck has just been an awesome handheld to just have and play with. And a little bit of news on this one too, Walt, is that Valve from VGC again saying Valve that making an OLED screen will be a little bit more work than people like kind of assume. It requires a lot more technical prowess than just slapping a new screen on, which makes sense. But I think we found like a good workaround anyway for that thing, right? Like, so what's been your take on the Steam Deck now? It's been a year, it's been out, you've had it, you played around with it, you got some games on it. I have as well. What's your take on it?
I think Steam Deck, having had a Samsung and an iPhone, the Steam Deck feels like the Samsung of portable gaming, while the Switch feels more like the Apple of portable gaming in the sense that it feels not like restraint. Switch is very specific to Nintendo, and only Nintendo focused software will make it improved. So the only way to get a better screen is by buying another Switch. The only way to get better games is by literally just only playing exclusives by Nintendo. With the deck, I love how customizable it is. How you mentioned the
Mm-hmm.
screen, the plugins are a lifesaver. Uh, Vibrant
Yeah.
deck,
The Vibrant deck has
the
been it's been really showing up, man. Especially for Trails in the Sky. I've been playing that. I turned off
mm,
Vibrant deck and immediately the colors are so muted. And it's a game
mm,
from 2005. It's early in 2015, but it released on Steam I think in 2015. But just immediately you can tell the colors are more muted. Like it's not that full HD look. Blah blah blah. But putting on Vibrant deck just makes it look so gorgeous.
dude, it is, and not only with the Vibrant deck with the plugins, but also with that you can customize the way that it turns on when you boot it up. I,
And that's an
of
official
course,
feature now.
yeah, and I have a little persona.
Do you
I
have it
have a
mixed with like the other like official Steed boot up movies?
so I there's the boot up, and then there's the when you lock it, right? Not when you turn it off. So I have the I combine it when I change one, I change the other. The only thing I don't have is the menu layout. So I only have the circle one, the one that makes it just look a bit more like organized and a bit tighter. Like the logos are circled and they're not squared, like it doesn't look rough around the edges. That's the only thing that I don't match with my opening movies. um, Other than that, I have if the game is a platinum or a gold or a bronze in terms of like compatibility with a Steam Deck, where there's no real. It could say, oh, it's not supported by the Steam Deck, but then it'll have like a platinum, and it's like, oh no, it actually does run on the Steam Deck, you know.
Yeah, it's like with
So
Paranormal Site. It doesn't. It's not like
yeah,
Steam Deck certified, but people have been playing it on Steam Deck.
yeah, and that has been a lifesaver. And I have the plugin that lets you know how long to beat. So it'll give me the
Oh really?
yeah.
Oh,
So
send me a link for that. I would love to have that.
I will. So essentially, when you go on the game itself, it'll look like it's integrated with Steam, but it'll tell you how long to beat and how long to like complete, or how many hours on
That's
average. Like
incredible. I love that.
it'll give you the actual deets for that, and it's fantastic when you want to get a game and just like, a short game, or you actually want to have a full-time job. So it really helps. It's helped with Persona and with Final Fantasy games. Whenever I want to dive into a new JRPG, it really helps determine what I want to focus my
That's
time in.
incredible. Yeah.
But yeah, man, the Steam Deck has been phenomenal. It's the customizations that really like bring it up a notch, and the options, man. The options that will not be mentioned. Just the variety of games. You know what I mean? Um,
What do you find
Lots
yourself
of games.
playing the most on it?
The most. I mean, it'll vary from more modern games to literally 10-year-old games. So
Yeah, yeah,
lately,
yeah.
lately, I've been in terms of. Give me just one second. Let me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll chime in
Um.
here as you all set. Wait, you
Yeah,
good?
yeah, yeah. I'm stopped. I was
Okay.
coughing. Um. I didn't want to blow people's eardrums.
Just gotta stop
Um.
choking, man. That's it.
Hey, yo, chill.
Continue.
I the latest ones I've been playing are, oh my god, what was the name? Uh A modern it has been Persona 4, the golden one, and in terms of old games, uh, more analog horror games. I've gotten into those. They're very so they look old and they look like you put a VHS in, but it's like it was made like 2 years ago, and it's really interesting. It's a really interesting genre of video game. Um, I feel like you're in a 1980s horror movie, B horror movie, like a slasher. So those have been really cool, and also been playing, Trails,
Been Trails in the Sky. You've been playing that?
the first no the first one, yeah, the first one,
Yeah.
just Trails in the Sky, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I've been going back into every now and then. It's been a minute since I played that one, but that's the one that I have front and center in terms of the older games. Um, and other than that, because I do download it quite a bit. There's a lot of small indie games that I've downloaded that I want to get into, but they're like 3 hours long, 4 hours long. So some of them I'm leaving for Halloween because there's a lot of horror games that I did download for October, and I just want to, whenever the vibe is there, I want to dive into them. So
Yeah. Yeah. Might as well. I mean, they have a huge sale up now for people that have Steam and Steam Deck and just kind of want to dive in there. And there's a lot of great choices that they have,
they
and from
do.
big to small games, like a whole bunch of games.
Oh man,
They have the spring
tell me
cleaning.
that.
They have the spring cleaning sale just going on. Everything's on sale. It's
Oh,
really tempting, but I spent too much money the past couple of days. So, but yeah, man, I've been playing a lot of Steam Deck for Trails in the Sky. I've been playing it for Disney Dreamlight Valley, Final Fantasy 14 every now and then. I love diving into just any sort of game on that thing and feel like I could take it anywhere with me and then come back home and just blow it up on my display here and just go ham on it. And I'm really looking for. I've been tempted to really not back into, but dive into Marvel's Midnight Sun. I downloaded that. It's
mm.
on my Steam Deck, and I'm tempted to play it, but I really want to finish Trials in the Sky before jumping to another RPG. And Marvel Midnight Suns is calling my name, man. It's that's like a deck perfect game, and coming back
Oh
home
yeah.
playing that, yeah, it's so much fun. Honestly, that PlayStation trial really did sell me on the game as far as the gameplay offerings. The graphics and the interactions of the characters are the weirdest thing. I feel like I can ignore those and be okay. It's really the gameplay that's like really selling me on it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes you can ignore the bad things of a game or the not so good, and because sometimes they'll have very very like not revolutionary but like impactful things that they just execute perfectly. And it's the type of company that it is. Because I don't think that they pick the best uh cast to develop. I don't know. The choices are odd in terms of the interactions.
Oh yeah, the fact that Tony Stark looks like a firefighter with tight ass pants, like yeah, it's really weird.
Yo,
It's true. I showed you guys like the image when I was playing on PS5. Like it looked rough. It looked so bad.
but I also think that Firaxis is good at they're excellent at making strategy games, just like how kind of like how Larian is excellent at making strategy slash story games, but that are top down. Um,
They're beefing up
I
that
don't know.
graphics department though. It looks good.
Oh, dude, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. And I don't know. I like the fact that they chose um the Midnight Sun. Like I assume that's the villain group game, right? The Midnight Suns or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a rogue group. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, and I love when there's like a like a corruption of a character, and it becomes something more like Venom looks badass. Like all the villains look so cool in their new forms. So I like that. I like the little things. Gotta enjoy life. Gotta
Yeah.
stop it. As Perrito would say, gotta stop and smell the posies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited to dive into that. It's gonna be a good time on deck, and I I also picked up a HDMI to USB-C cord and the little stand for my Steam Deck, so I can actually hook it up to my OLED. So
What?
yeah, it was cheap, man. It was like $14 or something like that.
Have you used it?
Yeah, I use it for Hi-Fi Rush and for Trails in the Sky.
And it looks good?
Yeah, I mean it looks good. I mean you're
Oh,
basically
man.
getting the 720p resolution up on a OLED and stuff like that, but it doesn't look horrible. Like but the thing is, it's playable too. So like you're still getting, if you have your deck set at 60 frames per second, you're gonna be playing at 60 frames per second. So, and I'm
No
using it
input
for
lag?
Trails in the Sky, so it's not like I need it like crazy great.
No input lag?
No input lag whatsoever. Actually, even for
Right.
Hi-Fi Rush, which is incredible.
That's what
So
matters.
it works, and it's actually a lot of fun. So now I just don't have to stay on my computer desk anymore. I can actually plug it into the TV and be good to go, which makes it really cool. So what the Switch does amazing, this Steam Deck also does. So you can't really complain there. It's really good.
Okay.
Great stuff. It's actually 10% off for people that are interested too. Like the actual Steam Deck itself is 10% off, so you can get a nice little discount off of all the models there. I recommend the middle ground model if you don't want to spend too much on a high grade one.
You got it.
But yeah, so that's kind of next up, like more of our smaller topics here. Let's jump into the meat of the episode. So let's do Resident Evil 4 reviews first, and then we'll knock out the Naughty Dog interviews and Last of Us finale for as our final topics. So Resident Evil 4 was reviewed this past week, and into critical acclaim. People, water is wet. People, great game is great game again. This thing is a 93 on Metacritic on PlayStation 5. I'm
Jesus
sure on
Christ.
PC it's 92, Xbox Series X 91. So yeah, it's hovering over the 90s there, with PS5 having the most reviews, and from what I can see, and also the more positive reviews. But regardless, really high grade for this remake here. Capcom is just absolutely killing it. They are the Cap gods now. Like, it's already been official, they're Cap gods, but now they're just absolutely cementing it again, making a great game even better. The definitive way to play this game. It's you love to see it, man. You love to see it. So hopefully their streak continues, with the more games come out with, like Dragon's Dogma 2 and Street Fighter 6 and the whole 9 yards. But Resident Evil 4 remake, well, how we feeling? This game is about a week away. We're closing in. We can actually finally play it. What's your take? What's going on?
Fully chubbed.
Fully chucked. Oh,
Oof.
Jesus Christ. Oh
I
man, that's
am.
not a good image I had in my head.
Hey, yo. Nah, bro. This is one of those moments in life where oh man, bro, you know when a game comes out or it's gonna come out, and you're grateful that you like games.
Yeah. I
Bro,
know
like,
exactly what you mean.
this is one. It's like when Resident Evil. So I didn't know that, going back in time, I didn't know Resident Evil 2 remake would be what it was. I never played Resident Evil 2 in my life until the remake, and I played it and I was like, oh, like this is like an excellent game. Like, I didn't have any. The only bases I had were the other Resident Evil action games, Resident Evil 4, OG, Resident Evil 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8 I treat as a different type of situation. But the way that 4 is shaping out to be, this is looking to be like one of my favorite games. Like, it's just like Resident Evil 2 remake became one of my favorite games ever, probably top 10. This Resident Evil 4 was my first Resident Evil, and I love how there's people that go, I don't love it as much as the first one, but I still do think it's really good. And in my mind, I'm like, do you just not like progress? Like, you just not like evolution? Like, oh, do you also believe in creationism, sir? Like, it's the type of thing where, my guy, this is just objectively a better game. And the way that it's shaping out to be, the trailers, everything. I downloaded the demo last night. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna cream my pants. Like, the game is looking incredible. Bro, Leon Ada,
Jesus.
actually,
Christ.
Everyone's looking fantastic. Like everyone, classic Capcom. Like Capcom, Cap Gods, you can't miss. They ain't missing. They haven't missed yet with this property in recent years. And I still
Yeah.
don't. I don't think that Resident Evil 6 was a miss. It was just a very starkly different game.
Oof.
It was a starkly different game.
Replay that game and you'll have a different opinion. I promise you.
I've replayed it in 2 years ago, and I still stand by the fact that it's not a Resident Evil game. But I still don't think it's a bad game. It's just not a good Resident Evil game. Genuinely, it's a mindless shooter. It's a mindless because I'm not saying it's fun. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad game.
You're saying it's a
Because
Forspoken.
there you go. It's soulless. Yeah,
That I agree with because I actually replayed it with a friend. Because the first time I played it was solo, and I replayed it with a friend, and I was like, dude, this is like kind of boring. And there's honestly the best parts of that game for me were Jake and what's her name? Shelly? I forgot her name.
Oh my god. Wesker's daughter.
No, that's not Wesker's daughter. No. It's either that or Rebecca. I forgot her name, but she was. I think she was in Resident Evil 0.
Oh, Rebecca Chambers.
Yeah, Rebecca. Okay, it was Rebecca Chambers. It's Rebecca and Jake, which is Wesker's son. It was those chapters, like the later chapters, were more fun for me, and then basically Leon and Hunnigan's entire campaign was awesome. Helena? What did I say? Hunnigan?
Hunnigan is Resident Evil 4 is the one he talks
Oh,
to.
that's why I said Hunnigan. Then there you go.
Thinking of a different lady. Don't confuse ladies.
Yeah, no, but because Helena, I know what happens to her is kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, Chris's campaign was crazy, but like again, it got to the whole, it got very hallway shooter, and it got very boring very fast. So, yeah.
Yeah, boring doesn't mean bad. I think boring means boring, which is worse than bad. But I don't think it's a
Yeah.
bad game. I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is that it's not to the standard of the. I think Resident Evil 5 was way better than 6. Like
I agree.
5 was
Yeah, I agree.
like the quintessential like action kind of mindless fun.
Co-op was fantastic.
Co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
co-op
It's
and
kind of like what
co-op.
Neil and Craig Mason were saying earlier this week, how like they don't care if people hate or love whatever they create as long as they don't act indifferent to it. I feel like that's how we kind of review Resident Evil 6 and even Forspoken, since we're kind of on that train right now, where like I don't hate it or love it. I feel indifferent to it, which is probably worse.
Yeah, it's when a game is like forgettable. I think that's worse than being a bad game. At least a bad game leaves an impression on you.
Oh yeah, I
You know?
agree, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
It's Resident Evil 4 remake is, man, you know when something is like, you just know it's gonna be good and there's just nothing, there's no worries.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's how I
worried.
feel with 16, Final Fantasy 16, obviously. That's how I
Oh,
feel.
absolutely. And what I'm looking, I mean, if there is footage, I haven't seen it. If it's in, I don't think it's in the demo. But the thing that I keep thinking about is the regenerator. I want to see what the damn regenerator looks like in this game.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the most unique Resident Evil enemies ever. And how will you like fight it? Will it be the same way of a sniper through infrared and having to look at those parasites? Like how? I'm interested in all these things, man. I'm looking forward to it and all the creepy crawlies because there's a lot of creepy crawlies in 4.
I'm looking forward to actually the knife fights because we're actually gonna get that now. You know,
Sir.
because that Krauser
Krauser,
fight in the
baby.
original like Resident Evil 4 game was just like whatever to me when I
Worst
first
section of
played
the
it. I wasn't a big fan. I didn't like it that much. I mean, the game, original game. I'm not a huge fan of. I could see the appeal. I could see why people praise it as much as they do, and I think there's fun to be had. But like, I kind of left out. It's like, yeah, that was cool. I'm glad I played it, but like, I am not aching to play it again like I was with Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 5. To be honest.
Listen, Macho. There's things in video game design that I think are objectively just bad. With time, you realize just how bad it is. Not being able to move while aiming is bad.
Oh yeah,
Not being
original Resident
able.
Evil 4 had that, didn't it? I forgot.
Hmm. People forget that. Tank controls, trash. Trash. If you like tank controls, there's something fundamentally wrong with you.
Look, man, I'm gonna defend those old games though. Those old games just have a magic to them
Oh yeah,
about
and they
that,
can
about
stay
those
in the
tank
past, but
controls.
don't try to recreate it. Don't try to say and compare it to like modern games
Well, it just
because I
doesn't make
yeah,
sense nowadays. That's
it
why,
does,
you know.
because we've evolved as a species, Macho.
As a
Because we've
species,
realized
you mean we got better at game design and things made more sense? Is that what you're
exactly
talking about?
you're proving my point. We got better at game design. Before we were not
Why
good,
you
and I
said it like
get it.
some Thanos overlord, like you evolved as a species? Like what's wrong with you? We're talking about game design. We're not talking about that we grew an extra limb. What are you talking about?
No, I think that there's game, Grim Fandango, the OG Resident Evil's Onimusha. Like there's games that
Yeah.
tank controls are kind of ingrained into the game design. But try and make, uh, try and play. I don't know what game like Final Fantasy VII with tank controls. You know?
Well, I was gonna go a little further and piss off Flame here. Is that if whenever you watch this episode, like it's tank controls are kind of like turn-based games. You know what I'm saying? It's like we evolved for them. We don't need to be here anymore. So
Oh man. Oh man.
I
Man.
say that as I'm playing two critically acclaimed turn-based JRPGs.
You say that as Yakuza Like a Dragon became one of my favorite Yakuza.
And how Persona 5 just birthed like new life into the genre. Yeah, well, guess what? Guess what, Flame? I'm the podcaster here. I can say what I want. Turn-based games are trash. We can
Here's the thing.
leave a comment in the comment section. I'll block it. Watch what happens.
Do it so you can block it purposely. I think, and it's to that same point. It's like you just said it. Like it's how you execute it. Because
Yeah.
there's turn based that just feels so fluid and so like
Action based.
just
That's
so
that's what I was
exactly.
telling Flame before. I was saying to him, we were talking about turn-based and action games before, and kind of like how turn-based can't just be turn-based anymore. At least like to not a super niche audience. Like they had to have that flair and that style, and more action-like combat, which is like Persona 5 does immensely. It's what Octopath Traveler 2 does. It gives you extra turns in a turn.
Yes, and
You
it's
know what I mean?
kinetic and it's fast,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's why Final Fantasy X's design works so well. Because the I think what really makes it work is the fact that you can see the order of things and you can kind of play around with. Oh, if I do this attack, it's gonna push me down forward. It's gonna make these two enemies attack me. So
And
I'm
even
better
switch
at.
out characters on the fly, right? Like
Yes,
that was a big thing too about that combat system. Made it so well. It was so
games
good.
are supposed to be fun. Let me switch characters or make it a mechanic I can unlock. Don't restrain me. You know. Then you have uninspired games like Soul Hackers 2. You have games that don't really do anything in the turn-based area. And you have flat dungeons and it's like old school. Yeah, well, it's new school. It's 2022. It's 2022.
Fresh Alpha says turn-based games are for babies. Why don't you go play a turn-based game, baby?
Guru Gaga. You hit enemy. You go dungeon. Big dungeon. Only flat. Ha 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 ha. But then you have goddamn, like what you call it, like Yakuza, like reinventing turn-based and being so wacky, making you collect Pokemon that are actually just people and enemies. You can summon. The summons are people that you could call through the phone. Like turn-based works when you mix the turn-based with the thematic nature of the game.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It has to be that has to be the core of a game.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
why Persona 5 works so much because it's a fast-paced, very stylistic game, and that's how the turn-based works. It's very stylistic. It's very fast. You switch back and forth. There's a one more. The one more mechanic. Oh man, that changes everything. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can just keep stockpiling one after the other, and next thing you know, enemy's dead. That's why it worked, man. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a trash game. No, I'm kidding.
That which I was actually gonna bring that up, but we're kind of diverting topics here. Not the fact that Final Fantasy remake is trash. Obviously, it's not. Like I would, man, my nose would have been growing 10 times more if I said that game was trash. More of the action combat, how it evolved, everything.
Yeah.
But back to Resident Evil 4 remake. Again, when Resident Evil went that different direction with 4, we're kind of getting that same thing here with Resident Evil 4 remake, where we're seeing like I found instead of seeing like a drastic turn, right, with from Resident Evil 3 to 4, we're seeing more of an evolution of what they built from Resident Evil 2, where you are moving when you're shooting. Things are way more fluid and fun between switching your weapons and the puzzles and just overall exploring the environment. Resident Evil 3 was more action based, but people still somewhat enjoy it. I know that game kind of gets some hate, but from what I hear from people, it's still fun to. It's worth playing. Soul played it; he liked it. So
Yeah, for other reasons.
yeah, I know exactly for other reasons. Um, and then Resident Evil 4 just adds to that, right? Just adding like instead of saying we had this parry mechanic, but it's not fully utilized in the original for reasons X, Y, and Z. Let's just go all ham. So they have a full-on parry system where you could parry just about anything. Well, you could parry the goddamn chainsaw. You can parry people throwing Molotovs at you, and then you have the whole parry fight with Krauser. So like they would just went in on it, and they actually made like a full-on mechanic to the point where the knife has a degradation system on it, so you actually have to polish it off and upgrade it and all that kind of stuff. So for people jumping into Resident Evil 4 remake, your best bet is not to just even upgrade your guns from the get-go. It's really that knife, because you're going to be using that for most of the time.
Yeah, that's good. Make me think. You know.
Yeah, you're not just shoot bang bang. You're gonna
Shoot,
be
shoot, knife the floor, knife the floor.
Yeah, you're gonna be swishing and slashing all over the place. But the thing is not
Hey,
just
yo.
Shut
God
up.
damn.
The thing is, there are cool little like traps you can set up, because I know from one of the gameplay demos I saw before, I think it was I forgot where we saw it. It might have been a PlayStation State of Play, but where Leon went to like a barn and then the zombies or the infected follow him, and then he shot the lamp that was above them so that it can fall and catch fire to all the infected in there. Probably kill all the cows that are in there too, but.
Man.
But yeah, this is like one of those things where you can just manipulate your environment too. So they're looking to do more of that. So from what I've heard, the major areas in the game are expanded and have a lot more to play around with, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, man. Love to hear it.
So yeah, those are Resident Evil 4 remake reviews. We'll catch that next week. We'll definitely be playing that. I am gonna be all over that when it drops next week for sure. I got no plans next weekend either, which is great. Maybe actually I might have plans, but I'll get some good time in that game for sure. Um,
I,
yeah,
I
man.
do have plans half of the weekend, but I think maybe I could do something the first half. We'll see.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, final topic. Let's get to it, bro. So the Last of Us finale, it aired last Sunday. To crazy amount of viewers. I think it had like over 8 million people tuning into that finale, titled "Look for the Light," and this was the entire sequence that we've been anticipating. Walt, this was from the game. This was the hospital sequence. It was Ellie and Joel going, at the hospital and seeing Marlene again, and then the entire finale with Joel and Ellie and those iconic final word said at the end. And they kind of replicated the game to a T, along with a couple other little changes that, in my opinion, were for the better. And man, did it hit! It, I wasn't full on crying and bawling. I did have some tears shed every now and then, but there was a couple times where I was just really taken aback by what they were able to accomplish with this episode. But what are your thoughts on it?
That's one of the best finales to a show, and that is what I think the best video game adaptation currently, hands down.
Oh, really?
The
I kind of have a
Yeah,
different opinion on it, but continue.
the finale changed enough, which wasn't much, to where it felt like, yeah, they nailed it the first time they did it. That finale for the first Last of Us, you can tell just how this 10-year-old game, the writer, like, it's a timeless game. It's a classic story. It truly is a classic story. We have a lot of survival stories. We have a lot of zombie games and a lot of zombie stories, but this is truly one that stands above the rest. And the way that this last episode emphasizes the themes of love, of attachment, of hope, and despair, and how the lengths that we're willing to go for the people that we care about. It's all encompassed in such a beautiful way. And my man became John Wick number one. Like they made the fact the way that they made the fact that Joel does mow down the last remaining fireflies.
The haunting music, right?
The music when it hit, when he's going up the
Wow.
stairs, when he's going down the hallway, just mowing down enemies,
Just crazy. It's so
and
incredible.
I think what makes it work the best, the most, it's the fact that Pedro, has is in the zone. He snapped. He is not there. When you look at his eyes, that is an animal fending for himself and trying to survive. He is disassociating. When he grabs a knife to finish off the enemy, it's like he doesn't even make an expression. He just pulls out the knife and goes to kill him. One of them gives up. He's surrendering. He still kills him. It goes to show just something that is very much emphasized in the gameplay of Part 2. The fact that it doesn't matter if they give up or not. The character that you play as has a different type of agenda, different type of motivation. And it highlights what they've been indicating since the beginning. Oh my God, they've done horrible things. Oh my God, Joel's passed. No, it means that when Joel, if he cares for you, if you matter to this man, the lengths he is willing to go are, there is none. There's no limit. He will do whatever it takes.
Well, yeah, but it's going back to the fact that he can't lose what he lost already.
Not a second time. If he did, he was gonna be a very, very different individual. And I think it's the fact that also, in hindsight, because now we have more context, you kind of understand why he did it. You don't justify it, but you understand a bit more just how Marlene kind of kept information from him. And I think that's what led to this. It was miscommunication. I'm not on anyone's side in this story. This story is not about sides. This is just humanity and humans doing what they do for love. But I think the fact that she was like, just, take him to the outside the hospital, give him a knife, and just let him be on his way. Marlene thought that this was the Joel that she had seen in the beginning of her journey. And I think that's very important. Marlene saw one Joel and met another one, but she didn't know.
Yeah.
She didn't know that.
Yeah.
She was treating him like he's been treated this whole time, but Joel had changed. He had found a new daughter, essentially.
I mean, he opened up to her not long ago that he tried committing suicide.
Exactly.
Like we didn't get that in the game. That's all new stuff. And what a way to kind of like you just open up to somebody that you haven't even talked about probably to nobody, right? But you open it up to this girl you've been on this journey with. And now she's about to be taken away from him? That's not happening.
And it's the fact that the first episode highlighted how, I mean, we got a glimpse of that when the guard is telling him, hey, move out of the way, she's infected, and he just goes ham on him, and beats the ever living hell out of him. We got a glimpse of the last episode in episode 1, which makes sense. What's the when in the darkness, look for the light. Like the first episode and the last episode, they're titled,
when you're lost in the darkness.
When you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. First episode, last episode, they tied that out beautifully, by the way.
Yeah.
Very simple but very nice. That's very nice.
That's Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann for you, man. The storytelling chops is it's really legendary.
It kind of reminds me of how The Last Airbender started with the boy in the iceberg, and by the end he was just Avatar Aang, and that's what the last episode is called, Avatar Aang. And so it's a story through titles, and I love that. I love when they do subtle things like that. It's like in a video game when the final boss, the music is the theme of the game, like of the menu music or something. This episode, man, Laura Bailey, by the way, I didn't know it. I didn't know that was her.
Yeah,
She's
I
one
don't
of
think
the
anybody had
nurses.
known, honestly. She was covered up.
She was covered up, but it's so cool that she got a little cameo in there.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
glad
that
that
was a really nice touch. It was.
they made it canon. The fact that uh, there's no second thought of the surgeon, of the doctor. You know, I won't let you take her away. That's it. That was it. In the
Yeah.
game, it's the same way. You don't think about it. In the show, I think they translated that well. The fact that we don't really care about this doctor. You know, whatever. We're here for Ellie.
Well, yeah, well, he needs to die for specific reasons, but
He needs his death is quintessential. It is necessary in the timeline.
yeah,
It
you
is
saw Joel didn't
necessary.
even think about it either. He didn't blink, do nothing. He just straight up shot him. He's like, get out of my way, like
That's been
he's a
yeah.
threat, and now he was in my way, so that's what happens. Yeah,
He went Terminator mode, man.
yeah, yeah.
He truly he was unstoppable. And I mean Joel's great at what he does, and they show that.
But
Um,
apparently, Laura Bailey, that cameo was there specifically not for what we know it as from part two,
mhm.
but mostly because Laura Bailey actually played the nurse in the original Last of Us. She played one of the nurses, so it was more of a nice little callback to that than what we all know it as, or we're thinking in the first place.
Mhm.
So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. This is pitch perfect finale. I think for people that anyone that played the game is gonna be extremely satisfied with this episode in particular. For people that wanted more action, they got it, and I think honestly, I understood why they had a lack of action in this show, and it was for when those moments really happened, you would feel the anxiety, you would feel the threat, you would feel the danger, and as game fans, we're kind of like, oh well, we don't care. We want more action, which like I can get it. Like you want to see Joel kind of go ham, or you want to see, some sort of fist fight. But I think episode 8 did a really good job of that when Joel was hunting down David's men to find Ellie. And then in this episode, he was just going through the entire hospital. I mean, he obliterated the people in that hospital, man. Like it's like no ifs, ands, or buts. No one was getting in his way. Nobody.
He is the reason there's no fireflies.
At least in that section, yeah. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, he absolutely just went ham, and I think they did such a great job. The haunting music from just in the background was just such like next level stuff, man. Like it was absolutely what they wanted me to feel. I felt it, and it's because there wasn't as much action in throughout the entire series, where you're just horrified by what Joel's doing. In the
Mhm.
game, you're just like, oh, I gotta get Ellie, pop, pop, pop. I got Ellie, where's she at? Pop, pop, pop. Like, but in this one, it's like this is a senseless killer
Mhm.
looking for the one person he loves the most in this world right now besides his brother, you know
Yeah.
they really played off tremendously, and then the final scene was just pitch perfect, honestly,
A
from the
recreation.
from
One
the
to one.
close up on Bella, to her like seeing the confliction in her eyes when she tells him, swear to me that everything you said about the fireflies is true, and he looks her dead in the eye, no blinking, straight face, I swear. And then she just looks so like she doesn't know what to do with herself. Like it's back to me playing the game in 2013, where I'm looking at Ellie like really trying to wrestle with whether she wants to believe him or not, and then the cold like what's it called, the cold outro of just like fade straight to black. You don't really know kind of where she lands on. Does she believe him? Is she too smart to believe him? Or she just gonna go with the lie? Like it's perfect, absolutely perfect.
I I had read that they initially wanted to like one of the changes they wanted to do was continue that scene and make it to where they're walking towards Jackson, but it's like they're walking separate ways and like indicating the beginning of their um like disconnect and
Mm-hmm.
separation. But I'm glad that they left it as a game because I think that's a perfect, the near perfect ending. It's so open ended, and I love seeing reactions of people have conflict through the episode because they start off, yeah, Joel, yeah, mowing them down, yeah, kill them, yeah, get Ellie, but then they're like, Joel, no, don't kill Mark. Oh, okay, yeah, no, makes sense. And then it's like, okay, Joel, tell her the truth, and he's like, they found more people. They found someone with they found
Yeah.
more like you. And they're like, oh no, Joe, why are you doing this? And it's like, yeah, yeah. No, now you're not on his side. You were on his side when he was mowing down the last hope for humanity, but now he's a bad guy because he's lying. Oh, okay. God.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, that is a weird disconnect. Yeah, that is such a
what
weird
a
disconnect.
what a change in tune. But listen, they never. What something that I love about Last of Us is that they never establish anyone as good or bad. These are just people. They're just they're people. Like no one's inherently bad or good. They just make decisions. Well, you could argue that David was evil,
Oh
because
yeah,
that
he
man
was
was
he was
unhinged.
he he was probably the most evil in the entire show. Yeah.
Like David highlights why. Like what was the leader of the scavengers, or the woman? I forget her name. The
Uh,
the
is
guy
it
from the
is
contortionist.
it Kathleen?
Kathleen, yeah, sure, Kathy. Let's say Kathy. Um, it shows just how Kathy wasn't anything. Like Kathy was just like she was someone that was lost and was kind of leading an army, and she wasn't truly evil. She was just like she wanted to believe herself as evil so she could be a leader. David was just maniacal. The man said, "No, I can't wait. This is my favorite part." It's like, what is your favorite part, you sicko? What do you mean? Like killing the prey and being on top of it? Like what's going on? Um, I'm excited, man. This is a. I won't lie. When Joel shot the doctor,
Kathleen, yeah, that's her name. Her name's Kathleen.
Kathleen. Okay.
Hmm.
When Joel shot the doctor, I had a flashback of war times. I had a
What? What are you talking about? You're in World War II? Is that what you're trying to say to me?
hey, yo
What the?
no, the war of the scars, and the war of many things that are to come.
Oh, you're
Like
talking about Last of Us 2. Okay.
I had this vision. It lasted like 3 seconds, but it was events, and oh god, Macho, I'm not
People
ready.
aren't ready, right? People just aren't ready.
No, if they weren't ready for this season, they're not ready for a second season. Which in that same vein,
Especially, no, never mind. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, yeah.
no, no,
Continue.
no, no, let's not talk about part two.
Continue.
Which they highlighted that it's gonna be multiple seasons for season two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
I would
good.
say I would say at least. I mean, they're probably gonna aim for 2 seasons, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's stretched into a third season.
Kind of conclude.
Well, yeah, the third season being Santa Barbara and
Mm.
everything that happens there.
Oh man.
Yeah,
If you Here's the thing, y'all. If you thought David was evil, if you thought Kathleen was evil, you ain't ready for Santa Barbara.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can see season 2, 3, and 4 being The Last of Us Part 2, if they decided to go that route, because they did a really great job with season 1 overall encapsulating the first game, even with the stuff they took out. Right, like the stuff that we were worried about. I worried about multiple episodes in this season, whether to condense everything, it was gonna feel too rushed. To me, it felt perfect. Like it may have felt rushed in the sense that we're watching week to week and maybe we have this condensed view of it. But from Gene Park, who was a writer of the Washington Post, said if you just watch it like as a 9 hour movie, you won't feel like that. You'll feel like there's a gradual evolution of their relationship, of Joel and Ellie's relationship and everything. But I think they'll do the same thing with part two. They're gonna condense some parts, they're gonna expand a lot more parts that are gonna make this, the adaptation that people expect it to be from the great game that Last of Us Part 2 is. So I can definitely see season 2, 3, and 4 being The Last of Us Part 2, which gives Naughty Dog enough time to work on Last of Us Part 3 if they are working on that.
Neil said that they've made a decision, but he won't reveal what it is yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about the interviews in a little bit, but continue with The Last of Us show right now.
The
I guess
show's perfect.
yeah, I guess it's like overall, like we talk about finale and what we loved about, but like overall, your take on season 1.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Down to the last minute detail, as Homelander would say. Um,
Just perfect.
Perfect. Just perfect. Down to the last minute I think that this is a show that a lot of people will say that no, some things it lagged. No, I think that every single episode was amazing. I still I still believe that the finale might be, it's either my number one, number two favorite, but the Bill and Frank episode continues to stand out above the rest. Um, but I think that this is a perfect show. This is a show. If someone's like, man, I've never seen a show in my life. What's a good show to get into? Last of Us.
No, that's way
Like,
too much, man. You got to ease them into
too
it.
much?
That's
Ain't no
way
way,
too.
brother.
That's way because that's setting the bar too high. That's setting the bar way too high.
Is it too high?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like telling people that they want to get into TV shows, watch Breaking Bad, and then like every other
That's
show
true.
after that is gonna be pretty like whatever, you
It's
know.
like you want to watch an animated show, watch Last Airbender, and then it's like, oh, where's the soul in
Yeah,
all of the other ones?
yeah, I know. Well, with that
Um,
said, do you like this show more than Breaking Bad or any of your or for what's the other one? Better Call Saul.
oh man, it's like choosing between two genres. I mean, it is two complete different genres. I will say, this is my favorite apocalyptic drama, um, if that's even a genre, because I think Breaking Bad is the best crime thriller. I will say that Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Better Call Saul might be the best drama I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't really put one above the other because they're starkly different experiences. Yeah, I know. It's hard because honestly, I think they both excel in very different ways. Um, I think Last of Us. I think Last of Us is my favorite. Yeah, apocalypse drama, or I think it's better than Walking Dead.
Well, that's not a high bar really. After
The
like
show, because
yeah, but
the
like after
comics are
like
actually good.
season maybe like after like season 3 or 4 Walking Dead, it's kind of like whatever.
Right. And I think The Last of Us is better than most zombie movies, for sure.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
that's what I'm saying with like The Last of Us. It people really underestimate nowadays like what it did for video games back then in
Hmm.
2013.
It's like Breath of the Wild.
Shut up.
Hey, don't deny that it did a lot for video games.
I know you're saying that in a serious tone, but like it's the trope now of
It,
like it's just
yeah.
like Breath of the Wild. Um, but no, it's like I think people really underestimate what Last of Us did for video games in 2013. Same thing with BioShock Infinite for like storytelling. Like it just so happens like in that same year we got two amazing stories from two widely acclaimed developers, where the AI in a video game ends up having so much more life than we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
Um, Bioshock Infinite did with Elizabeth, and then The Last of Us was did that with Ellie. Again, it was a game changer, man. And the story itself is just so solid, and I think it being transferred to this medium and the way it is just kind of like really knocks it out of the park and shows that this story is really strong. And the core theme of it being love, being this beautiful and destructive force of nature, has multiple sides to it, and there's in the Last of Us series that showcases that, and that's why it's so effective. That's why people connect with it so much. But I think overall, like as far as my thoughts on the series, or unless you weren't done with yours.
No, no, I think I'm done. Not honestly, the show is just everything. And we've talked about the positives of it. It's a fantastic story. Craig Mason saying it's the best story of all. I don't think that he means that as like he's shoving that down our throats. I think that he genuinely thinks this is the best story ever told, and I won't take that away from him because it is one of the best stories ever told. And I think it's the themes in it and the intentions and the crafting of it. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like part two. People boil it down to revenge bad. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. You know,
Yeah.
Last of Us Part One. Uh, a a good thing, a bad thing comes out of good will thing. Part two, a good thing comes out of a bad will thing, and it's just different contrast between the two. So
Mm-hmm.
beautiful,
Yeah.
very beautiful.
So overall, season 1, I think I wish there was more infected.
Mm.
That's my only criticism as like a fan of the game, mostly a hardcore fan of the game, and then the show. Is I wish we had more infected. It's not because the thing is that the reason why. So now, the show not having a ton of infected isn't like a deal breaker, but I wish it was in there more because they did such a damn good job with episode 2 and 5, showcasing how brutal they are and how scary they are. Right, like when again flashbacks to 2013, first playing the game, absolutely mortified of a clicker making their sounds in the next room, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or a runner absolutely having no ifs ands or buts. They have tunnel vision and they just straight dash towards you. They're gonna mob you, or the bloater just being so strong and such a pain in the ass to deal with. They did such a great job with that in the show. I wish there was a little bit more of that to show that kind of danger in this world that's not just the people, which is important too because this is a drama centered around more about the people than it is around the infected. But I wish there was a little bit more of that. But we did get confirmation from Neil and Craig that there are going to be more infected in season 2, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, that's what I would have assumed. That part one focused more on the world building and the character building, which we'll get more of that in season two. But I mean, part two in and of itself, it highlights just how
It's about
ins-
violence.
it's about violence. I think that's the theme. If the first one's theme is love, this one's love and violence because there's a lot of it, and there's a lot more clickers, because that's when we first get a proper introduction to stalkers. My most dreaded clicker, because they just peer from the corners, and that's creepy. It's creepy.
yeah, yeah. They're gonna go ham with that. So
And His Majesty as well. I can't wait to see His Majesty
oh
if they
god,
do him in part two.
god, yeah. No, they have
Yeah,
to. They have to.
they have.
They absolutely have to. That's the one part everybody from that plays the game talks about. They have to do that. But
Yes, sir.
but yeah, overall, like I would have to agree with you. I think it is like kind of like to me, it's like a pitch perfect season. Like I loved just about every episode. I loved every episode from beginning to end. And the one that has a little bit more of a slower pace and I wasn't super crazy about was episode 4. But
Mm.
I think that's because it was part 1 to the 2-part that we got in 5 that really paid off like immensely. But a part of my a part of my opinion really leans more towards Castlevania and Arcane being still my favorite shows. I think that's mostly because I was surprised by them, and I love animation above anything else. So I think that's more of like my bias on that. But if I were to pick like a live action video game adaptation that I could watch forever, it would be The Last of Us. Yeah, 100%.
Because I think when I look at Arcane and Castlevania, and even no, that's not an adaptation. That's a prequel to the game. I think that
Or
when I
Cyberpunk, Cyberpunk Edge Runners too.
yeah,
It's
but
really
that's
good.
the one I'm thinking about. But that's a it's setting up the game. But I mean, the video game is adapted from a TTRPG. The Last of Us is a game original. I think with Arcane and Castlevania, they don't adapt the games. They just tell the story in show form. I think that Last of Us literally adapted the game, and that's why when I look at it, it's like, oh, this is like the best adaptation because it
That
truly
makes
adapts
sense.
the
That
story.
makes sense.
Because with Castlevania, you do get a Sypha, you get all these characters, you get Alucard, and the story is weaved in a way that it does have Castlevania elements and it does have the Castlevania world, but it doesn't have the Castlevania pacing. Because you can't really make a show like the game because it's a platformer. It's a Castlevania game. I was gonna say Metrovania, but it's a Vania game. Same with
Yeah,
Arcane. It's a MOBA. You can't really tell a story about the MOBA, only about the characters.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, those
but
those
it would
game
be
stories themselves just like speak to me on a level too, because I love vampires and all that stuff. So obviously that's a given. And then for Arcane, it was a story about siblings being separated and war torn and all this kind of things, and that kind of storytelling I love too. But The Last of Us, again, it's the story of a father and a daughter, and sort of like their journey they go through. It's just so timeless. And you're right, like the adaptation part of the game story that was so good anyway to TV form immaculate. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'll agree with you. Like Castlevania and Arcane are, when it comes to video game inspired or video game, what will be the name for that? Because I don't want to call it adaptation, but just video game based shows. Um, I think they're the best of the best. Truly, I do prefer Arcane over Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's not that Edge Runners is lesser, is that the way that Arcane is built and crafted, it left an impact on me.
It's
Not
so
that
good,
Edge,
man. It's
not
so
that Edge
good.
Runners didn't, but there's a magic to, and also I think the fact that it was weekly helped because it was batches of 3, and it gave me time to kind of simmer the, for it to simmer. That's why The Boys worked. That's why Invincible worked. It's because when it's a weekly show, I kind of end up enjoying it more than binging. That's why, although I love Stranger Things, I watched that on a Sunday, complete thing, and I didn't really have time to enjoy it between episodes. That's why I'm a believer of the weekly formula more than I am about the binge formula. So
It works. It works.
it
It's and not only for marketing and for impact, but also because it gets people talking, which is why The Last of Us. It's so impressive to see the ratings for the show increase week by week to end up now eclipsing House of the Dragon, a spin-off of Game of Thrones. Freaking Game of Thrones. Like, Game of Thrones was a cultural zeitgeist, fellas. That put fantasy storytelling on the map. Like, no question about it. No, even if you hate it.
Like
What?
dark fantasy drama, because it's
Yeah.
like it. Because fantasy, Lord of the Rings established high fantasy. I think Game of Thrones like the grounded fantasy. That's a paradox. Grounded fantasy, because how can you make fantasy grounded?
Well,
But you
more
can.
of like you said, the darker side of fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, and very political intrigue, and because that's Game of Thrones is all about politics. That's the core of it. But I think that with how Last of Us and Game of Thrones were where they were in a public perspective, because it's funny, House of the Dragon and Last of Us both suffer from one thing, and it was previous backlash. Game of Thrones
Yeah.
with the last seasons, Last of Us with part 2. So like they both were kind of fighting a battle on their own.
Neil
What
actually
happened?
talked about that too. To interrupt real quick, he talked about that how like it feels good to finally talk about Last of Us in a positive way after part
Oh,
2.
yeah.
And
we're gonna be
I
able
can
to talk
imagine
about
people are
part
the
2,
same way with House of the Dragon.
and we're gonna be able to talk about part 2 in a positive light. Believe it or not, that sounds crazy, but we're gonna
We'll
be able
see,
to.
man. We'll see. There's a couple of people that are really like season 2 and 3 are going to be the downfall of the show because of certain decisions that people don't like about part 2, but I don't think so.
No, that's just they're projecting because they didn't like part 2.
Yeah.
But the game didn't sell / became critically acclaimed because of for nothing. Because the game is actually be controversial, be the decisions. It's a story that it's not. First of all, we're fans of the games. It's not our story. It's not our decisions. We should
Yeah.
respect the artist as well.
Yeah, I don't really like the take of that Neil Druckmann is up his ass saying
No.
that well, if people don't like it, I don't care. Like it's his damn story.
It's his baby. Like it's
You
like
know?
us in the podcast. Like if you don't want to listen to us, we don't care. Like just leave then.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's simple. It's as simple as that.
Now we have no viewers watching. Thanks a lot, Walt, you dummy.
Dummy, you gotta be fake and tell them that you need them.
We love you guys. Like the video, please.
Subscribe, smash that like button.
No, fucking Neo. I think that the writers that stick by their stories like this and they stick by what they believe in, those are the best writers. I mean, that's why Last of Us works. And they forget, like,
100%.
they keep saying like, "Oh my god, like Neo's such a bad writer, bro." They made the same game that you love and treat as in a pedestal. Part 1, like he made that, he wrote that, he directed that alongside a team, but he's also involved in that. Like, why is it that part 2 just kind of just invalidates that? No, it just didn't happen. The things that you wanted to happen didn't happen, and that's on you. It's called expectations.
And you know all about expectations, don't you, Walt?
Oh yes, sir. I'm a connoisseur of that, man. The expectation
You
gremlin.
you should definitely change your name to Expectations Gremlin of the DualShock
sir.
Sense podcast.
Bro, the expectations ruin great games, and shows, and food, everything.
Yeah. I mean,
If you think
I think you're a little extreme with it, but I understand your
No.
viewpoint.
no extreme reality. If you come to an example, the United States, if you think the American dream, you're gonna get disappointed. You're expecting something that doesn't exist.
Hey man, I think I understand your point. You're trying to bring people into a reality, but that doesn't mean you give up hope, right?
No, for sure. And that's the thing. Don't expect the. You can hope for the best, but expect the worst at times.
Yeah, like hope that season 2 of The Last of Us is as great as the first one, but don't expect it to blow your mind like the first one did.
First and foremost, do not expect it to be different. We're gonna get the same exact story.
No.
We're gonna get it.
Okay.
We're gonna, because part 1, we had the same exact story. They just added stuff and changed some things, but the story was the same. Part 2 is gonna continue to be the same. We're gonna get the same ending. We're gonna get the same beats, the important beats. Just like Cory Barlog would say, there's 3 things that have to happen. Brock has to die, Trace has to leave, Ragnar has to happen. There's things in part 1, Last of Us show, that needed to happen. Sarah died. Joel killed to save Ellie. Sam and Henry, the situation ended the same. Bill and Frank, there wasn't anything in the game that ruined the change that they did, because the change was actually it built upon something that was not really built upon in the game. Marlene died. Tess died. Like, Jackson still exists. It's still Jackson.
The one thing we didn't talk about actually was when Joel didn't save Ellie at the end of episode 8 like he did in the game.
But it's still she
So
was
so
still
so
saved.
yeah, she was still saved. Yeah, I mean, and it's a little bit of a different point, but the fact that like she went ham, like
Oh yeah, she was the one that stopped. She wasn't stopped.
yeah, which was again horrifying. But yeah, continue your point about the story. Yeah.
But to that same point, she killed David in the same manner, and Joel was there to console her because she still was battling an inner demon. She was still battling. She was mistrustful. She had to be there, hug her, and everything is okay, baby girl. Like, I'm here. Like, the things still happen.
Yeah.
We're still gonna play golf. We're still gonna see a cult.
Shut up.
We're still gonna
Shut up. Stop it before people, in case people are still tuning into the show, man.
I know. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into specifics, but I mean, everyone likes sports. That's all I'm saying.
Shut up.
You mentioned Santa Barbara, so to get to Santa Barbara, there has to be specific things that have to happen.
Hey, man, that could be anything. So.
Could be anything, my ass, macho. Stop
Well,
the denial.
you're saying that now, but
wanted to change. You want the story to change.
No, I don't actually. I really don't. Because
you think people want it to change?
Do I think people want it to change?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know actually.
It's not.
I have no idea. See, I don't really know like the conversation around whether people want the story to change right now. I just know that people are not ready for it. That's all I really know. Because there's a lot of things in that story that will surprise people to no end, and I love seeing the reaction to it from YouTubers. Like, it's it's so incredible seeing people's reactions. But I just know that people are not going to be ready for the decisions that are made. But the thing is, I think I'm more okay with the story of The Last of Us Part 2 now because of what the show did with Ellie's character, addressing that she has a little bit of a violent side. She's a violent heart. She's a little more curious
in the apocalypse
and a little more dangerous in that nature. So like her evolution from season 1 to season 2 is going to be something I'm more okay with than when I went from game 1 to game 2. Because I even mentioned before how like when I was playing part 2, I was like, this doesn't feel like Ellie, or like the Ellie like I remember from the game, So that's what the show kind of like eased me into now. And now that I expect what part 2 is going to be, and I know what part 2 is going to be, now I'm more like, oh, this is going to be insane. So, but yeah, overall, I love season 1. I think it's incredible. I'm definitely going to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out in July.
Amen.
And yeah, overall, I think it's just an amazing series. It's hard to pick a favorite episode, but man, I really love episode 1. Like,
It's the best setup. It's the best pilot episode. Like
yeah,
in a show.
it's such a great setup, which is everything from having Sarah's point of view to the little dynamics between Joel, Tommy, and Sarah at the beginning of the episode, the gradual evolution of some danger, some mystery, and then everything just goes to shit. And the plane crashing the town, Sarah getting shot, and the heartbreaking scene. Like, it's like, to I don't know, episode 1 is such a masterpiece of episode, but that doesn't discredit the other episodes either, because I love everything from Sam and Henry's episode to Bill and Frank's to episode 8 with David, and then the finale. Like, everything's so damn good. Everything's so damn good.
They're
The
genius.
writing's immaculate. Writing is so damn amazing.
Craig and Neil are a force to be reckoned with, and
Yeah.
I wonder what Craig's opinion about part 2 is, because if he thinks part 1
Same.
is the best story ever told,
Same.
he's like, Neil, this is trash.
He talked about part 1 and how much he loves that story to no end. Like, he thinks it's a perfect video game story, and I would have to agree with him. I don't know his opinion. He hasn't talked about part 2, so I'm really interested to see what he thinks about it, what his viewpoints are. Man, I would love to be a fly in that room with Craig and Neil talking about The Last of Us Part 2 and breaking down that story and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to be in there.
It's a beautiful conversation they must be having.
It's happening every day too. It's so damn good. All right. But yeah, is that it for Last of Us show?
I think so.
Final topic, and then we can get on out of here, is what you alluded to earlier about the Naughty Dog on their next game. So we've been talking about this on the podcast for quite some time, as far as like the mystery of what PlayStation Studios games have been, what they've been working on and when we're gonna see them. And Neil, in an interview with Kind of Funny and a couple other interviews that have been floating around the internet, has stated that they are working on the next game, whatever it may be, and they've been saying this before, that whatever game they decide to go with is a passion project. It's a collaborative group decision that they make, and they just go for it, and they're on that train right now. Who knows when we might actually be able to see it? Maybe it'll be in the next State of Play or next game PlayStation Showcase. We're not sure. The Last of Us Factions multiplayer game is the next game that's to be on the way, and that they're going to show more of this year. Whether it be another showcase or State of Play, we can expect to see it sometime this year. Hopefully it drops in that. It's also coming to PS4, so it's going to be cross-platform. I assume it'll come to PC as well, since it is going to be a multiplayer game. But as far as The Last of Us Part 3, who knows if that's really the case. A couple of people have decisions on it from what I've seen. Some people are like, oh, that definitely means that Last of Us Part 3 is being made, or some other people are saying that no, it's definitely not their next game. So it's a lot of debate around that. So what are your thoughts on that, Walt?
On the possibility of it being made, or what it is?
On what their next game is, yeah. Sorry, I kind of threw a bunch of information out there. But yeah, what's your opinion on The Last of Us Part 3 possibly being their next game, or not at all?
I want it.
You want that to be their next game?
I would. Whether it's their next game or not, I would like a part 3 at some point, because I'm not of the mindset that, okay, I don't think there's more to explore. I do think there's more to explore. I would love to see more of this world, because Santa Barbara really opened my mind of like, oh wow, like humanity is willing to go to these depths. I want to see more of it. I want to see where, because if you beat the game, you get that menu screen. The journey was fulfilled. They were able to get to the shore. And I want to see their story, possibly, if that's where we're going to touch on. I'm only going to say the names so that we know, and the people that know, but without spoiling, Abby and Lev, I want to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see where their journey, because there's some hope sprinkled at that ending. There's some hope in some radio conversations. and maybe more with the lead protagonist herself. So I look forward to it. If it's made or not, I'm fine with where it left off. It's open-ended. It's open-ended enough, like the first one, to where I'm like, okay, I can imagine what they're doing. Uh, but I wouldn't mind more Last of Us Part 3, whether it's their next game or not. If it's something else, I would like a different IP. That'd be cool. I know a lot of people would like to see Jack and Daxter brought back. Um, I would just like a different IP because I think that Naughty Dog is just incredible at telling human stories, like grounded stories. Or they go wackier, because I know Neil was inspired by Miyazaki, right?
More of
Was
a
inspired
fantasy sort of route.
more fantasy route. That'd be interesting. More of a. I feel like Naughty Dog would do a better Forspoken than Square Enix than Luminous did, because
That's those are facts. That's not even a debate.
they would be able to mix modern era with fantasy in a way that works. Game of Thrones, if you will. They would make a sick Game of Thrones game if you think about it. Not Game of Thrones the property, but like in that same vein of dark fantasy.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
It's
Oh,
really
now
up
think
in the
about it.
air what they can make. That's why it's so exciting as far as, what they can bring to the table. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's a mobile game, even if they make Snake.
Shut
too,
up. No,
you know?
it's not. The snake's revenge.
Snake's Revenge, and it's just
You're
it's
just
just
debating whether to actually eat the little nodes on the screen instead of or
Yeah.
befriend them.
and suddenly you see a golf club on the side.
Jesus Christ, you and golf, man. I'm gonna show you
Hey, man,
golfing
it's a
when
nice-
I'm gonna show you golfing.
Hey yo,
And I don't know what I want, to be honest.
hey, what do you want?
I don't know. I just said that.
Yeah, but I'm trying to pry your memory. Maybe it's like, oh wait, now I do know. What not what do you want, but what would you like to see from them? Not what you want, but what do you think they would excel at?
That's the hard part. It's like I like you. I can be excited for either project because if they were doing Last of Us Part 3, right? They actually did break ground on the story and they're going full steam ahead on this next project. It'll be awesome to see a Part 3 as like a trilogy ender to the Last of Us series, right? To really put a cap on it and then go forth with a new IP. But if we get a new IP as well to satiate us before The Last of Us Part 3, whether it be on PS5 or PS6, I'll be happy with that too. I think there's no honestly there's no lose situation for me in this scenario. Like either way, whatever they announce, I'm going to be interested in. I'm going to be wanting more information about it and to see what it is, and I'm going to be excited for it. And I just think that it's going to be more. Part of me thinks it's more Last of Us Part 3 because the show is not going to be directed into nothingness like how Game of Thrones was, where they had kind of just bullet points to go by, and DB Weiss and whoever the guy was, I forgot his name.
D&D. Just D&D.
And then how they had to kind of maneuver around those bigger points with their own storytelling, which was just not great. The Last of Us show is not going to be like that. You can absolutely assume that Craig and Neil are going to be heavy in talks if a part 3 is going to be adapted, and the game is not going to exist after the show's iteration of it. So
Yeah.
whether
I wonder if they would set up Part 3 through the show and then make the game.
I don't think so. I think if there's going to be sort of inspiration from it, it's going to be from the game, because Neil said before that while he loves the whole process of making a show and stuff like that, he loves games. It's all about back to games for him. So if anything's going to come from the show, it's going to come from the game, not vice versa. So if that's why I said before that I think that The Last of Us Part 2 can be up to 3 seasons if they pace it out correctly and all that kind of stuff, because that gives Naughty Dog a hell of a long time to make and put out The Last of Us Part 3.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. If they end up season 2, 3, whatever, however they make, I can visualize them doing the same,
Yeah,
The
because even
last
Bella
couple
Ramsey
times.
said, I think it was
She's
yesterday.
being brought back.
Yeah, well, she's being brought back, but also that they might be shooting at the end of this year, which means that the show itself wouldn't be debuted until late 2024, early 2025.
Oh man, that's exciting.
So think about that, but with the same timeline for season 3 and season 4, that's like 3 or 4 years from now, 5 years from now. That gives Naughty Dog a hell of a long time to put out part 3.
If they decide to do the game route, because that's the
Yeah.
thing. I know that part 3, whether it takes game route or I don't know, comic route, I don't know what they would do if they do part 3. I don't know if they would do exclusively a game or if they would do a smaller, like a Lost Legacy type deal, where it's just like a conclusion piece.
Well, no, I
and
think
not so
wouldn't that be
like-
with The Last of Us Factions multiplayer? That little side story they have there, or whatever.
Well, but would you want to finish those stories there?
I mean, Ellie and Abby. Yeah, definitely. Like, I want some sort of conclusion to that. Yeah, for sure.
No, but like through factions, because I'm imagining like factions is going to be its own like long running multiplayer thing, but I'm imagining like a Lost Legacy type deal where it's a smaller game, but it's like it's a complete. third
Oh,
act.
so something like actually telling the story of Anna and whoever got knocked her up,
Sure, I mean, it
like
would-
an Anna game, because Neil talked about before where they're co-developing with another studio and eventually just got canned of an Anna game. So telling the story of Ellie's mother.
I mean, bro, give me all of Last of Us world stuff. Give me anything from that world.
You
Like
just want
honestly,
anything.
I love that universe so much.
Yeah.
It is such a great apocalyptic setting. And the way that they've established how humanity resorts to things. The scars, the scavengers, the Fedra, the cannibals, the slavers. Oh my god, like the way that they establish how groups of people come together to survive. It is fascinating. When there's no government, when there's no law, the way that Neo has crafted this world alongside his team, it feels so real. Like this is what humanity would resort to, because you
Yeah.
have stuff like Mad Max where it's just dumb fun. Like there's no way we won't get to that point where we have like a room full of women just lactating and like giving birth. Like that's absurd. Like that's like a fantasy of someone. But you imagine Last of Us, it's like, oh my god, like we're not far from this. Like we could get to this point, because it's like what 20 years later, to like 25 years later after the first hit of the cordyceps. So like, it's just that we're not as dumb. COVID could have become that, but we didn't because there are some smart people.
Yeah, I mean, we totally forgot to talk about Ashley Johnson too in episode
Bless her.
9.
Bless her.
What a cool way to have her character and have her literally birthing Ellie in the show, and sort of like the metaphysical like kind of themes around that. It's so damn cool.
It gets bitten, and that kind of like translates probably into making her immune and.
Yeah, and how like Neil Druckmann was saying too, how like both Anna and Joel lied to protect their kids, which is really interesting.
And they both made a decision because the kid was not given that choice, and Joel
Damn.
made a decision because
That's tough.
wasn't told. Ellie wasn't told what was gonna happen to her.
That's what my
So
coworker said too. She's like, Marlene and them kind of had it coming because they didn't tell Ellie about it. I was like, but what Ellie would have cared anyway.
Ellie
But-
said that she was willing to give her body and her life would have fucking mattered. That's her word in part 2.
Yeah, but it's crazy that you said that though. But yeah, you continue. That was
And Joel, I think, saw like, oh, like Ellie doesn't know. And I know that she wouldn't want that. No, she has a world to see. And it's like it's an impossible situation. It's an
Yeah.
impossible situation. Neo's great at making impossible situations.
Well, speaking of impossible situations, to quote from him from the Kind of Funny podcast on that next game, he said, I know fans really want Last of Us Part 3. I hear about it all the time, and all I can say is that, look, we're already into our next project. So the decisions have already been made. I can't say what it is, but that's the process we went through, and there's a lot of considerations of different things, and we picked the thing we were most excited for. So, whether that
Tells
means
me that it's not part 3,
that's what a lot of
but
people are thinking too. Yeah.
it's a continuation.
Yeah, and he even says here too that for us, Uncharted was insanely successful. Uncharted 4 was one of our best-selling games. We're able to put our final brushstroke on that story and say that we're done, we're moving on. Likewise with The Last of Us, it's up to us whether we want to continue it or not. So that's why a lot of people are thinking that Last of Us Part 3 is not coming, and that the next game from them is going to be a new IP, which is fair.
But no, it's fair. But I also think that if they do a Last of Us, then it won't be part 3, but it will be Last of Us, but it will be called something else. But it's gonna be kind of like the conclusion.
It's I don't know, but I think honestly, I think it's just Last of Us Factions.
Just Factions.
Yeah, because that's the one. So Neil has like a producer and consultant role on Factions, but as he said himself, this is the first game that he's not directing or having full on hands on with it or with the story or anything. It's something that the team is entirely creating. So that's I don't think it's the evolution of Ellie and Abby's story and whatever that goes to, but I think it's just going to be another identity to the world of Last of Us we haven't seen before.
Oh, so it's Bloodborne 2. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Bloodborne 2. Exactly. I'm glad you understand that.
Yeah, no, because he was inspired by Elden Ring. He's like, Miyazaki, I'll take Bloodborne 2 off your hands. And he's like, okay.
Don't stop it. Don't get me excited.
Sounds great, huh? That sounds great, huh?
Don't get me. I got a twinge of hope just hearing Bloodborne 2 made by Naughty Dog. Stop it.
Hey, that's kind of wild, huh? That's kind of wild.
That will actually go kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of raw. That's kind of raw.
Yeah, but man, I'm excited that we live in the world where we have such creatives. We have such incredible creatives living among us that can tell these types of stories.
I know, right?
That's humanity.
What time to be alive.
Yeah, what a time to be alive and not be a hater,
Absolutely. To not be a crybaby on Twitter. It's not enough action. Not enough action to show.
He wouldn't have done that. Oh, he wouldn't have been so relaxed because he doesn't know them.
Joel is soft. He's soft. He ain't doing nothing.
He's soft. That's what happened.
Motherfucker, that's what you wanted part 1. You wanted him to be a bit more familial. Now you're mad? Man spent all game suffering, wanting some love. He gets love. People are like, I know he's so soft.
Man, incredible story. Can't wait for Naughty Dog's next game.
Amen.
Hopefully we see not just Factions, but a teaser of what they're working on in a PlayStation State of Play or showcase rather. We're due for one, man. We're due for a showcase to see more Spider-Man 2, to see what these studios are working on, especially Naughty Dog, and see Factions and all that stuff. We're definitely due for one. So hopefully we get one fairly soon.
Absolutely, my guy.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, we have a bunch of games to play. This year is already stacked. Man, Hi-Fi Rush, Octopath Traveler 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Dead Space. Like, come on, we have a whole bunch of stuff to play to keep us busy. On top of PSVR 2 also coming out. So,
and Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the freaking Kingdom, man.
Final
Tears
Fantasy.
of the freaking Kingdom. Yeah, man, we got a lot to look forward to. So
Good year for games, baby.
It's not enough time. Not enough time. Too many games to play. I got a crazy backlog, but we'll get through it. But yeah, that's it for the 94th episode of the DualShock Sense podcast. I want to thank everybody that joined in and hit that like button. Thank you for the 6 likes that we got so far in this episode. Much appreciated. For the people that tuned in and now, Alpha, appreciate you, my man. Thank you for joining into the chat for a little bit. And we're gonna get out of here, man. So Walt, what you got going on for this weekend?
This weekend I got that course, the data analyst course that I'll be doing. I got some cleaning to do around the house, but at night I'm gonna let you know so we can do some extra primal then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll do that tonight because if I might catch a movie later today, but not at night. I don't know. I might do it during the day. But it'll depend if there's anything good playing.
Are you cool if it's like really late at night? Cause I got company coming over. So
That's fine. That's fine. I'm free tomorrow. And tomorrow's gonna be also a course day and just sorting some stuff out. So I'm good with doing it late at night.
okay.
Other than that, man, not much else. A pretty chill day. After we're done here, I'm gonna go eat something. How about you?
Yeah, today I gotta head to the grocery store. We gotta do a couple stuff. Actually, me and Sammy are having some people over, so it's gonna be game night. Gotta clean up a little bit, but we're gonna maybe making our own pizzas. So homemade pizzas.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be bomb.
Hawaiian.
Making barbecue chicken and some pepperoni. I might make mine honey sriracha with pepperoni.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
honey.
pineapple pizza, right?
Sure. That's actually a good idea too. Maybe we should do that.
Yes, sir.
That might be a good idea. I don't know. I'm gonna crave honey sriracha, man. Pizza had this, not Pizza Hut. Domino's had this exclusive pizza called honey sriracha that came with pepperoni, red onion, honey glazed over it with some sriracha sauce, and dog, it
Oh my
was so
God.
good.
Bro, that
they-
reminds me of the maple bacon donut that you tried that one time. that you
Oh,
mentioned it was like really good.
Dog, it was so good. I don't know why Domino's stopped selling it. It was like one of their best pizzas ever, and they stopped selling it. So that means I had to beat Thanos and put on the glove. Fine.
It's probably too good and was making people die sooner than they should have.
I mean, I was a happy death.
FDA said, nah, that's too much
It
sugar.
was a happy death, man. I had to be, but they stopped selling. So I had to be Thanos, put on the gloves. Like, fine, I'll do it myself. And ever since then, it's been a hit in my family whenever I make it. So I might make it again tonight.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, it's me some game night too. So I got Super Mario 3D World lined up that we can play 4-player co-op. That I picked up on sale for the Mario Day, and then we also have some board games. So I got Marvel's Villainous, I got Kingdom Hearts Talisman, and the Resident Evil deck building game. So I'm really excited. So Walt, whenever you come up to New York, we'll definitely play some board games
Yes,
or
sir.
something, because our Resident Evil deck building game is super fucking fun. I love it.
Ooh, sounds great.
And yeah, man, that's gonna be my weekend, and probably some Extra Prime with you. So, and then more Octopath and Trails in the Sky peppered in there. So it's gonna be a super fun weekend. I'm excited.
Same. Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, man. All right, so let's clock it out here. Thank you guys again. Try kiwi on your pizza. Alpha, are you
Ooh.
kiwi on your pizza?
Alpha, honestly, I'm a pineapple a pusher, so I'm gonna actually consider that.
A pineapple pusher?
Wait. Wait.
Where are you pushing that pineapple, sir?
Wait.
You know that thing is sharp, right?
Wait. What I mean,
You're
what I mean is that because I pushed the narrative of pineapple, I want to try the kiwi on pizza. He says it's popular in Norway. Hey, that's
Oh,
great.
okay.
That's
I'm fine with okay. I'll look it up.
whoa.
I'll look it up, Alpha. I'll look it up because that sounds wild to me.
Yeah, that sounds kind of good.
Kiwi is like sweet and sour. I feel like that'd be a good dessert pizza more than the actual pizza.
Right.
Alpha, you crazy. Walt is no longer the the expectations ground. He is a pineapple pusher from now on. I have no idea where he's pushing that pineapple, or Sammy's like, ew. I'm done. All right, man. We're gonna clock out episode 94 here. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll catch you guys next week on DualShock Sense podcast. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch you guys later. Sending out. Peace. Hi, Harley.